and some trivia questions that we'll ask in just a few moments. You're okay with it? Yeah, this is not technically like Starfleet though, but it does give off some heavy Star Trek vibes.
Howdy folks, and welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition D&D campaign. We're a little late, as you can tell, but that's because we are back in person. So I'm going to take us out to our main screen here, which is this one, and hopefully you can see all of our players, sans Matt, who will be from behind the curtain in just a second. But welcome to Adventures in Alberon. We are back after a month-long hiatus where we played a 4-part miniseries entitled Bloodroot. I'm realizing I left my phone somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah, which I do kind of need. I think it should be back over there somewhere by the computer. No, that's fine. Matt, is there a phone back there? We're a professional production that has done this for quite a long time. But because of the pandemic, we actually haven't, thank you so much, been in person for quite some time. So we could use all the help we can get. If you notice something isn't working, please let us know. We will do our best to kind of update things as we go and try to keep this show on the road. So, we have been away for about a month. We have been doing this 4-part mini campaign that was called Bloodroot. It's set in canon to this campaign. Definitely check it out. It is available as VOD on Twitch, I believe, for the next 2 weeks, and then they're going to start slowly being faded out of there. You can always find them on YouTube. Dicey Encounters, who is Drew, our friend, joined us for that, and that was a lot of fun. So thank you very much for that, Drew. A couple of announcements before we get into the recap, which is going to be something since I forgot to write it, and it's been about a month and a half. But a couple of quick announcements. We have a website, alberonrpg.com. It has a whole host of information about our campaign, about the different characters that people have rolled up. It has a lot of the art and also information about the artists that have worked on the different things that we've done. If you watched the brief pre-roll that we had, hopefully, You would have seen a number of things by Sophie Bischoff, by Eric Volova, by our very own Talon's daughter, who submitted a whole bunch of different things. And howdy Doss, good to see you as well. Thank you for lurking. The other announcement that we have, we're back in person, so that's a pretty big thing, I feel like, right? I feel like because of the pandemic, I haven't had... Matt, you came over the first time anybody came over after the pandemic for the 4th of July. And this is the second time I've had people over here, so this is pretty dope. For everybody who's out there, I know it's been kind of a dicey time, no pun intended. So thank you for joining, and we're glad to have you with us. And I think with that, that's all the announcements, because we haven't played for a little bit. So jumping straight into our recap, which is going to be terrifying for me. Real quick, let me pull up. Music down?
Now we can all hear everyone.
Miles,
I'm ad-libbing this. I'm
yeah.
like mixing without headphones on. It's very hard.
Miles is doing our audio, and this was all set up today on the fly. So we're testing things out. So, Finger Gang, last that we played, almost a month ago, we had begun with Morwen, stuck in this sleeping state, almost like a dream. You saw things through this gauzy curtain. Figures, 2 elves, one of which, Allie, you know. But Morwen doesn't seem to yet. And one of which seems to be unrelated. One that reminded Morwen a little bit of Era. This first figure reached through the dream and was able to touch you. You felt this warmth. And from the petrified state that you had fallen into, suddenly the statue burst and time seemed to almost flow backwards. Some of you saw, actually only Shay really, saw time reverse. The Cold Forge, once falling, now being pulled back together, the debris going up back into the ceiling, and suddenly you had all found yourselves back in time by about 30 minutes. You were able to push your way through this place with a little bit more ease the second time around, knowing where people would be. You managed to very elaborately tabletop one of the Thuldor into the lava. Of course, with Akka taking the part of the leader of the Thuldor and convincing Kuthar, the other member, that you were, in fact, this leader. You had agreed to go on the code word Cheeto, and then nobody went on the code word Cheeto. One by one, you all decided there's a better way to do this. So, up to your current... Yeah, your normal planning abilities there.
Here's a plan. I like to play in the middle of the plan.
Yep. And the best thing is, no matter what character you're playing, it's always Matt who's up to the talking at that point. However, despite that not going 100% to plan, you all managed to defeat the Thuldor, at least 2 of them, and free the Dragonborn. It's been about a month. Valchrysix. Thank you. Yeah, look at that. Valchrysix, this black-scaled Dragonborn who you didn't learn a ton about. However, you did learn he had come from a faraway continent. He was a representative of this Fazarakian skald, which has been thought to be extinct for some time. He is an artificer, something that Akka is also. It's a art that has been lost to Alberon for some time. It fell with the Fazarakian skald. Akka attempted to curry favor from this individual. However, they did not believe that you were capable of any such tasks. And any time that you tried to attempt them, you would be facing a different direction or something else like that. So that worked out great. You had all made your way back through this city, hidden and invisible. You made your way down to Red River Run, this freezing cold, red-hued river that was mostly kind of ice, but still flowing slowly through these iron bars. You came to a submarine-like vessel. You didn't learn too much about it. You had heard that it would be a fairly uncomfortable ride. But as soon as you were at this point able to leave, you decided to about face 180 degrees and return to the city to finish the contract that you had signed with the Grey Lady on the back of this wretch, once Akka had reminded you about that deal. And that's where we're going to begin for this evening. So, let me just pull up some appropriate music for this, assuming that we have it. I don't really know.
get the jazz.
I could. I have the jazz.
Or the jungle music if we still have it.
If only.
If only. R.I.P. jungle music too. Jungle music got waves.
So, you all stand in Red River Run. You're on this dock, little bits of ice kind of coating in, and it is almost hued red, and so very uncomfortably, when you look at the edge of this dock, it looks as if almost blood is frozen along the edges. There are a number of vessels that you saw, many charred and blackened and frozen over a little bit. There were a few that were less damaged, but the one that you had all approached was this submersible. Valchrysix had noted that it was something called an Ilharn class submersible, which, for those of you who speak Dwarvish, means Elderhammer. Valchrysix has recovered his gear and has agreed to wait for you for 2 hours. So you all now face this stairway. And if you would like, you can climb back up and return to, I believe what you guys had learned was called Tanner Square.
That was the...
So
in relation to the rage room.
Yes.
Where was that one?
So,
'Cause
and
I'm gonna
I'll,
forget
so
that name.
because we haven't played in person and because we haven't played the campaign for about a month, I'm going to be much more lenient
Sure.
about reminding you guys
Yeah.
details. So
I mean,
don't worry.
thank
Yeah. It's been a second. So,
No.
yeah, there's no Guntir to grace this presence. Man, last time we played in person, we had Guntir too, that's crazy to think about.
Oh, weird. Oh.
Yeah. So, you would remember that up above, there is this long kind of stretch of road. There are 2 lowered sections where there are a variety of buildings, and the heightened section, almost like a road that went down. You saw a couple of people further away. This area, previously, there had only been 3 or 4 of those gray dwarves who had been setting up some kind of like a table or a stall. You had seen supplies being brought over to this area.
So, we are invisible still.
I believe
As
you have.
in at the beginning of the end of last session.
Yeah, and I think you just.
Opted to then hustle on over to
Yes.
the spot that was, God, the black something. It was the like roots or something like that.
Yeah, so that is the Black Vein Hill, and that's where Kuthar was able to cultivate what is essentially coffee.
And where we would assume them to be after they had left, or at least that's where we were going to head.
Yes.
Like their workshop.
Yeah.
So we know the rough heading of that, but that's only after the commonly tread space, which was going around basically top down, looking at the city from the entrance towards the cold forge at the back. We went around the right side.
This is so great. We're in person, so I could just whip out a map real quick.
This is great.
So,
And I know that it was to the like north side or something, right? Which was in that orientation I was describing to the left. We had gone there before.
roughly
I just have
correct.
this like circular shape of like how we traversed it. We like curved around counterclockwise, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. So, yeah, all the coals, the Dwarven citadels, and coal is Dwarvish for citadel, they're all arranged in roughly the same way. They're like circles or paths that go down. Kol Taran, because of its history, really had a tough time. And so you would have noticed that there were buildings built into the sides, but it was like a very vertical kind of structure. There used to be platforms. There are no longer. So you would remember, currently, you are below the Everbright Band. You are looking for the Rage Room, and then next to that... So currently, you guys are... You went into this gate and then went through and then down. This is the Citadel that you guys went through. Beneath this, and the lower ring is laid out like this. You guys are trying to get here, but in the ring below.
Okay.
Currently, you guys are only right about here.
Okay.
So you guys can retrace, and you would remember retracing the way that you came. There was a place where you had thrown an object to like fool a guard down an alleyway. If you went down that alleyway and went through a couple of paths, that is how you would get back.
Right. And I remember asking for a lined path while we were in the Cold Forge
Yep.
proper.
And so you transcribed that. So you have a rough idea.
So
of
with
how to
that,
do it.
with that in mind, I saw coming back.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess because I have that and usually do the geographical recall, I'll try to navigate to that area best I can based on a probably pretty simply inscribed map as it had appeared and disappeared in front of me.
Sure.
So
So holding that out, you begin to walk. Everybody's following? Okay. You begin to climb these stairs, stone steps that are a little bit slick at the bottom, but as you climb, it does get warmer. When you stop being able to see your breath so easily, you climb a little bit more to the top. And as you do, Shay, your passive perception is 19 or 20 now?
It is
20. Yeah, I know. It's so great.
I miss Solon's passive of 14.
Yeah, you can't see anything.
I mean, 12 is above average.
Yeah.
That is what that means.
Yeah, sure.
10 is your normal human person. Well, normal is the wrong word.
Hero.
You're average in a fantasy setting person.
So with the passive of 20, you hear in the past like 30 or so minutes that you've been down, there has been more activity. You can hear there are a couple of voices, kind of certainly dwarvish. And so you catch here and there. Make a general intelligence check because you do speak some dwarvish.
Technically, I can understand everything.
It's just reading, is it? Or is you can't speak it, right?
I can speak.
No, I can make myself understood and understand everything.
Okay.
It is also a natural 20.
Okay.
Oh.
So you hear, yeah, I know. So you hear up there a voice, and you had heard it previously, kind of closer to the raid room when you had seen the twins, Ortiz the Feller and Yuglong the Dominator. You hear Ortiz. You can hear him listening very, very closely. You can just kind of hear. So, anyways, this is kind of what they look like, and then you hear this of like paper being unraveled. And you just kind of hear, there's a short one, maybe a human, there's a cat creature, there's a devil man, and then there's then you kind of see almost like a shudder, an elf. And then you hear a number of voices just kind of murmuring around this kind of like, elves. Are you doing anything with this? It seems as if it's coming from outside the door and then off to the right of the building that you're in. You would remember this building kind of like rupee shaped from the top? Correct.
Is Heinrich within reach of me?
What order are you guys walking in? What is your marching order?
I would have been first, I think, just given the map and all that jazz.
Okay.
And I have no idea about the rest.
I mean, are we walking in an area that's probably wide enough to not have to do single file?
So the stairs that you're walking up have to be single file, but then when you get to, so as you climb, you'll get to a room that has a doorway that would separate you and then this other, like the outside. Mm-hmm. So you could theoretically walk up to that door. There was nobody inside when you came in. Unclear as to whether that's the case or not, but it is single file up the stairs.
Well, for what it's worth, I think when we went invisible again, I would have just grabbed the person closest to me.
Okay, so then Morwen,
He'll be right behind me.
and then I'm assuming Akka and then Shay.
Probably.
That seems right. Are we going to play telephone up the line?
Enemies up ahead, pass it down.
Are we on the stairs?
Yeah.
Am I able to move up the chain and get next to him?
You're a monk. I mean, yeah, you can absolutely do that. So you just kind of like shove your way past. You kind of slide along the wall next to Akka, pushing the armored body aside a little bit. Morwen, for you, it's very much just like a swim move, and suddenly you're behind Shay. But yeah, you find yourself behind.
Tap him on the shoulders and like 2 fingers, like head. No, I know you can't see it, but like.
Yeah.
At this point, the pantomime is felt, and I would just sort of like, I would use my hand to like find you and probably like accidentally like pseudo slap you in the face and be like, and then, what is it?
I heard something and repeat.
Okay.
Heard something, heard something. You guys all of a sudden just
They
kind
found
of hear from Heinrich,
They know
just
what we
heard
look
something.
like. Great. All right, everyone, we're gonna try to get out of this busy area and down to, what was it called again? The Blackbird Farms, Blackbird Hills?
The Black Vein
Black
Hills.
Vein
Yeah.
Hills. Okay.
Shay, you also hear at this point up kind of close to the top where the doorway would be, this kind of, you hear this kind of faint like metal shuffling. You'd imagine there is somebody inside now. You only hear one.
I would relay this.
Okay.
What's happening?
For some perspective.
Would have been like,
Oh, your mind.
would have been like to everyone.
Message it to
Yeah.
everybody.
So at least everyone knows that they know what we look like and that they're looking for us. But
There is one person in the room.
Are you looking for things to put in the corners, Joe?
I'm looking for just something to block one part.
You should use the other coasters
I should,
for
yeah.
show 'em off.
hexagonal shadowing.
So,
Okay.
for this moment, And I don't know how this looks on the battle cam. We'll say that you haven't quite gone all the way up the stairs. So the stairs would bring you to this room. You guys are all still, you guys are all still beneath.
Well, that still kind of did what I wanted.
How much space is past that book corner?
On this side, mirror shapes to that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's
sorry.
like a full.
Next
It's
time-
not just like an L.
Right, it's root.
This is the outside building. So you can see Heinrich up at the top, around, through this door, and then around the corner is where Shay is gesturing. There might be one person up here.
Okay,
And then all the rest of the noise Shay is hearing, like, over in this direction.
okay,
Primarily.
sure. That being said, we're like, we can talk quietly here. There's no one immediately visible, and there seems to be a closed door. I think
Yes.
that's
So
what
in front of you, as you climb up this part of the stairs and into this first building, there is that closed doorway. Beyond that, you know there to be like an L-shaped hallway.
that- Okay, right.
And then that rupee building after that.
Alright, everyone. Does anyone know how to, like, put someone to sleep without causing a ruckus?
I think you can like strangle someone.
Okay, right direction, maybe a little too aggressive if it doesn't go right, though.
We can all try to strangle them at once.
Aka, you got anything up your sleeve? Does that
Someone to sleep.
No? Okay. Maybe a sleeper holds best. Everything I do is either
Can't we
loud
just-
or obvious.
Can't we just sneak past them?
I guess so, but if he's in front of the door. Let's go look at least, I guess.
Okay.
Stealthily, if you guys are cool with this, again, tell me if you have any other ideas. But I think we should stealth up behind him and see if we can at least get by.
Yeah, or we can just like throw like a rock down the hallway or something, distract them. They can run after it.
If that seems
Everyone runs
appropriate.
after rocks these days.
Alright, shh. And then
Okay. So you
single
approach this
file,
door.
stealthily as possible to get up to where I can then lay eyes on and see if we can get around them.
Okay. This door opens pretty quietly, luckily. And as it does,
We do.
swings open. Yep. You walk up and around the corner, and I will show you what you see. Oh man, it's so great having minis again.
Can I put us up at the bottom of the stairs that lead up to the
You
room?
certainly can.
Perfect.
All right. So this guy was a dwarf in Colteron. He is now a Duergar.
Traitor.
See him hanging out at the door right there. He's leaning on this, what looks like a war maul. It's not stowed away. He does have it handy, but he is kind of like leaning on it, the head of it against the ground. He kind of coughs again, shifts his weight. Seems a little bit antsy. Probably been here for some time.
And these doors that lead out are closed?
Yes. So in front of you, you see just two roughly 6 foot tall iron doors, fairly short, but it is a dwarven citadel,
It's just the one view.
as far as you can see. Currently, there you can't see into the other sides of the room because physics, but if you get a little closer,
Can we sneak in?
make stealth checks and make them at advantage because you are invisible.
Heck yeah. Alright, good start. Bad finish. That's a good advantage. 14. 17.
17,
Okay, 25.
25, 24.
15.
Okay, not bad. All right. I always forget that Akka has the stealth weave or the infiltrator weave or whatever. Okay.
So
All in all.
get the
So all in all, not too bad. Give me one
Oh,
second
you
here.
know what's great actually? I would have netted out to 0, and the first one was a 14 anyways, so yeah, we're good.
You see him lean pretty heavily on the hammer. The antsiness stops a little bit. It seems to be beginning to maybe like drowse a little. You see the eyes, the just kind of close a little bit. Rolled real low.
He
You
looks tired.
get closer. He does, yeah. Gets closer and closer. And as you get in and kind of look around, there is no other guards. You are alone in this space. And so that brings you guys up to like right about here.
Okay.
Akka, as you get to this corner, looking to your right, you notice there are street signs, like a little stack of 3 stone plaques.
at the edge of the L.
Yep. and one points the direction that you came from. It reads in Dwarvish, since you speak Dwarvish, Red River Run. There is one that leads to a place called Tanner Square that points dead ahead, and then one straight into the left that reads the Black Vein Quarter, which is where you would imagine the Black Vein Hill to be.
Does that check out with my map?
Yeah.
Okay.
So syncing that up and kind of looking at the map, and then you kind of like turn it around, and it seems to sync up pretty well.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna message in line, guessing behind me. Now that everyone's like probably single file, just assuming the layout of it. Be like, all right, everyone into the room. I'm gonna make a noise at the other end of the hall, back where we came from, and just like pass that down.
Okay.
So that this guy will go, hopefully, run back that way,
Yeah,
and then we can just leave while he's not looking at this door that will open and close by itself.
it's a good plan. So, are you guys all doing this? Kind of crowding into the room? Okay.
Sort of like around the door, so we can kind of.
Where, Shay, where do you want to be?
To his right?
Here? Or back here?
Mine or
No, Heinrich's right, or?
No, the dwarf's right.
okay. Let's give him a clear path
Morwen?
out,
Yeah.
basically.
I'll follow Shay's lead, because now she's in front of me, so that's.
Oh, yeah, so you're just
that's-
holding
You're
on to
holding
it,
on
yeah.
to, yeah.
Aka, what about you?
I'd probably go just down from the door because I'd probably be like on the other side of Heinrich.
Okay, right here?
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll move over to the other side of the door as well.
Trying to
So, Heinrich, you wait a little bit and hope, because you hear nobody. Your passive perception is 15?
12.
12. Yeah,
Yeah.
you hear nothing.
I'm just taking a guess that everyone's moved into position, everyone's as antsy as I am.
You kind of hold your hands out. You don't hit anybody.
So I'm gonna.
go.
Yeah. So, perfect. Mage hand, no concentration. Last minute. I'm going to cast. Is there debris of some type at the elb end of the?
Yeah.
Perfect. I'll pick up a plank of wood. It looks like is in the corner.
Okay, so you
Something
kind
nice
of
and
reach
climbing.
over into the corner. So,
So
worth,
mage hand
worth
cast-
noting, there wouldn't be wood. Wood's really hard to
Okay.
get down here. So
A
you
piece of
see,
stone,
yeah,
Pebbles.
a piece of stone, 10 pounds or less.
sure, yeah. You find a nice 9.5 pound stone,
Perfect.
just
at the
labeled,
limit.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually use my mage hand to weigh them all. This is the
No.
wrong pantomime to be
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
So I'm
We're
gonna,
also on a
I'm
time
gonna,
limit here.
yeah, I'm gonna cast mage hand 30 feet, range obviously, but basically at the end of the hallway, and then use it to throw the heaviest object down the other end towards where we came. And as soon as that guy goes, I'm gonna start making my way towards the door, hoping everyone kind of catches on.
Okay. Without too much trouble, you're throwing a rock down the hallway. You let it go with this mage hand. You don't hear it for a second. And Heinrich, I would say you actually don't hear it, given your passive. You kind
Okay.
of wait, but then you do see this dwarf kind of gets up, and the hammer kind of scrapes off the ground, puts it on his shoulder. And you speak Dwarvish, so you just hear, "Who goes there? Hello?" Sure. So I would say make a sleight of hand check this time, because he is kind of paying attention.
Totally fine. That's one of my best. Would this, because it's sort of stealthy, qualify for an advantage?
I don't think.
I don't think you can. It's fine. I was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
or asking.
Yeah, always ask, but yeah.
That is a 17.
Okay. The hand scoops up another one, and for all of you, you can just see the stone behind the dwarf, or behind this gray dwarf, and then it kind of just bobs back and down the hallway, disappears. This time you do hear clank, 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 and it seems to rattle down the stairs. This time you kind of see the dwarf, you hear even just the glove as he kind of like nervously looks around. Hello? And he kind of takes a couple steps backwards towards the exterior door.
Uh-oh.
Is anybody doing anything? Okay. He puts it.
Is this concentration? It is not. Minor illusion.
Okay.
For like, and it's gonna be, so like mage hands, I'm done with that. He's already paying attention down the hall, I'm assuming. That's where he's looking.
So yeah, his eyes are locked on the hall, but he's kind of going back towards the exterior door.
I'm going to make a minor illusion of, just like a shadowy figure. Doesn't even need to look like us,
Okay.
but just kind of make it look like They didn't like a loose expression of. Let's see, well, someone from my past. I'm gonna make Gamble there for like a fucking split second, poke his face out and look a little worried, and then kind of like back up and then immediately dismiss the spell.
Okay. So this is minor illusion, right?
Minor illusion.
Okay.
So it's static, but it's like.
Yeah. So you kind of blink it there so it looks like it's around the corner and then gone? Sure. You see suddenly the dwarf straighten up and turn around and go, fuck that. And he turns around and you just hear, and he opens the door. We have intruders! And I need everybody to roll initiative. As Shay, you hear a large commotion
Aren't they in
outside.
front of the door?
Are they what?
Aren't they in front of the door?
So, no. Oh, Shay is
Well, we
right in
would've-
front of the
We
door.
would have
Fair
moved out
enough.
of the way.
So are you moving out of the way? That's a good question.
I would move around him.
So,
So
he
letting him
ends
through?
here, and you
Okay.
end here?
Yeah.
Okay. So Shay, as he approaches, you just kind of glide around, but he hurriedly pushes the door open. I do need everybody to roll initiative because
Something's got to be a little bit more confident at least. Jesus.
they're really afraid of the Gray Lady, and so anything, yeah, they're on guard. There was an assault on their base earlier on the exterior. Their giant got killed. They're not super pleased.
Alright,
Okay.
well, at least I'll still invisible so we can poke it.
Maybe.
Is there anything that breaks invisibility?
Yeah.
So visibility is
Insight,
broken
tremor
by.
sense.
Maybe I've broken already. Honestly, I don't remember.
I don't think you have yet.
It's if you attack, I think.
It's if you attack or make
Oh, yeah. I would have known this then.
yes. But
So
what
I
was
would
it?
have been standing in the hallway doing all of that instead, out of sight, had I remembered.
Fair enough.
If
So
you want to put me at a disadvantageous location down the hall, I will take that as a I should have looked at this spell.
My weapon.
Attacks or cast a spell.
So what I would say is
I was casting fucking spells. It's greater
you
invisibility.
could be here then.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where I could have been doing all this noise making and
Sure.
all that kind of crap.
So, with that being the case, give me just 1 sec. I'm going to give it some
Sorry, I ain't invisible anymore, but y'all are still,
Oh, that's
as
good.
long as I hold it.
We don't attack.
And you don't attack. So I might be able to just draw the attention of you as escape, and I'll come back to you or something. But we can't communicate that, so never mind.
Sucks to suck. That's going to be a negative, I think. Okay, so anybody natural 20?
No,
25 to 20? 22? 22. Oh, yeah. 22.
yeah, keeping it at the same level.
22. It's hard because without any chance to set it up, none of them were
For sure.
preset, you know? So 22 is Akka, right? 21 was
Mormon.
Morwen. And then Shay, where are you falling? 17.
Wow, that's pretty low for Shay.
Yeah.
Oh,
But he
man.
doesn't have that great initiative.
Oh,
Really?
it's all about
Five.
mobility.
You get advantage on it though, right? Okay. 17 is going to be
Well, I
Shay.
made mine's plus 10.
And then Heinrich?
Oh yeah, nice
11?
11.
Okay. I'll
Way
put
to
some.
go, buddy.
I ain't soloing no more, that's
There
for
you
sure.
go.
Okay. So a couple of things are going to happen all at once. First of all,
By the way, he's a dancer and a swordsmith.
this door is going to burst open. And you are going to get a chance to see a couple of things coming through. So, first, as it opens, the easiest thing to see behind the first one, riding atop this albino spider, is Yuglong the
Is it a
Dominator.
spider or is it one of the?
It is not a steeder. This is a weird looking thing, much more tarantula-like in nature. And then
Let's see a maker.
who comes and opens the door, and then behind him, you would see
Is that one wearing a chef's hat?
don't judge him. No, it's a mohawk.
Oh. Oh, it's like a chef's hat from here.
Give me
I
1 sec.
thought
Actually,
I see the chef's hat.
I'm gonna do one quick emergency
Is
audio
Remy
fix.
in there?
Okay. Is what?
Remy under the chef's hat.
Remy? No, although I do have a rat somewhere, but neither here nor there. All right.
I'm doing this only for the sake of
No
everyone
worries.
being able to hear us.
No worries. Yeah.
Behind the curtain he goes.
Behind the curtain he goes.
The Wizard of Oz.
And then there's one other guy.
I knew it all along.
I mean, I knew it. I couldn't tell you. I swearing to secrecy.
Alright, so we see a good number of
Well,
them. That's
I've
8.
lost my ogre,
8 and a Studer.
and so
Throw Guntir on there.
I'm gonna use this guy instead of
Should we
him.
just slide him on? Oh, look at that! Oh, how'd you get here? Ew.
So,
So that's not what's there.
no, it's roughly the same size. It's an ogre.
Okay.
But you see this large, bald-headed, this kind of like, very much like Bunghole Steve. This kind of little bit of hair going around with the bald spot on top.
The donut hair.
Roughly 10 feet tall. You can see large, like this huge belly and these big ogre man breasts. Not a whole lot of body hair, and you can actually see it looks almost like purposefully removed. You can also see in front of him this small dwarf covered in like this barbed wire. The armor has been had all these spikes welded on. You see ugly, slightly discolored weld joints around them. But you would remember he is often thrown by this ogre into battle. Behind him, you see Yuglon the Dominator, this female Duragar with this white mohawk, one of the very few that you've seen with any hair whatsoever. She rides atop this huge creature with a bow in hand. And then you see like a half dozen other Duragar behind. Shay, you hear more around the corner. This is not all of them. However, this is going to bring us to the top of the round. It is the twins first, then Akka, then Morwen, then Shay, then the Duragar, and then Heinrich.
So the twins are on the Studer and the big guy.
Yeah. Yes. The big guy is behind that guy. He's not currently held by him because they weren't like expecting a battle necessarily. But
Okay.
Also, the twins are part of the contract, correct?
Yeah.
correct.
Those are the.
This
I
is
also-
the
but I'm sorry.
this is the reason that you guys have come back. Yes, I know. Is this a boob joke?
Yeah.
Okay. So, with that, the twins are going to go first. Let me go ahead and pull up their stat. Hello, Elementor 1. Happy to have you aboard. So, first, Ortiz is going to turn to this ogre, and you could just hear him go, "Pick me up!" This ogre reaches down, and you see the dwarf being picked up. Blood begins to run down this ogre's hand, as he does take a little bit of damage. Only 1 point.
The ogre takes damage?
Yeah, because this guy is wrapped in barbed wire. So as this ogre picks the Duragar up, blood begins to run down the arm as it does damage him. But you see the dwarf like kicking his legs and laughing madly, and then he is hurled forwards over Heinrich's head, over the dwarf's head, kind of at you, Akka. Akka, could you make a dexterity saving throw, please?
But everyone's invisible. Is it
Yeah, do I
just
get-
generally into the room?
It's just generally into the room. The only person that would actually be like visible would be you,
But I'm
kind of around the corner, and that's where the illusion is. So just throwing him down the hallway, basically.
Okay.
Dex save
Yeah.
is, let me-
This is basically whether or not you're going to get hit by this thing.
17.
Yeah, so that's fine. You see the dwarf hurtling towards you, ha ha ha, laughing with his axe held high, and you just step to the side. He lands right where you are and kind of bumps into the wall. He is going to turn and take his full movement. 5, 10, 15, 20. Heinrich, he rounds the corner and kind of just into the stone wall before coming back. He levels his axe at you. You see this big smile. And he's going to take 2 attacks against you.
Okay.
First attack is going to be a 15.
Nope.
So you manage to like pull out of the way. He swings with the backhand, and as he does, the head of the axe just dislodges and right into the stone because he rolled a natural 1.
Well.
You see the eyebrows narrow. Ah! And he just begins to start running towards you like he's going to bear hug you, even though he's about half your height.
Yeah.
The Dominator behind.
That's cute with my belt of stone giant strength.
Yeah,
Like,
he
eat him back.
He's going to get into the door. He's going to go prone. It just goes right over. And actually, Morwen, make a dexterity saving throw for me, please.
Get out of the way.
21.
21. You just, yeah.
I mean,
You just kind of crouch down. The spider right over top you. You
Brush its
crawls
leg a
into the
little.
room. And turn around. And you just see her look down. You where are they? And you see this dwarf who's like leveled down on the ground from the spider crawling over top. And he just looks up and just kind of points down shaking. It might have been a ghost. And she just spits right in his face and kind of turns and takes the remaining bit of movement.
The Studer
Can it
spins
even
in its
move
face?
into this?
So as it goes into this little thing, right sideways and goes around the corner. You see the legs crawling over.
Well,
it.
this is fun.
Seeing you, she's going to go over and land the spider, but take her 2 attacks as she goes by.
Uh-huh.
These are going to be at disadvantage because it's a point blank short bow.
Sure. And also, like, they probably
yeah,
have to be
this
riding
is a
really
rough
awkwardly.
thing.
Yeah.
So that is, that's still pretty good. That's going to be a 20 to hit.
That just hits.
Alrighty, so
You
you,
dings.
this goes by, you're going to take, that's pretty good. 7 points of piercing damage from the first one, and even better, 21.
Total damage?
21 is the to hit.
Oh, to hit. Jesus. I was like, what the?
And then that's going to be just 12 points of piercing damage for the second one.
Okay.
So
I'm using just Hellish Rebuke just to get somewhere going. I'm already
So
visible.
you see this kind of quiver behind, and very quickly it's, and you just feel them dig one after the other into yourself.
Ouch.
Go ahead and roll
Hellish
for
Rebuke.
Hellish
Yeah,
Rebuke.
or-
Is that a save?
Nope.
Oh. Just
Oh wait,
like-
yes, Dex.
Okay.
Dex on them, not the spider.
Okay.
Because like I figured they probably can't get out of the way unless they dismount, and they're the ones hitting me anyways.
13.
So, like, yeah. 13?
Yeah.
No, fail.
Not dexterous.
No. So that's against my 18 save. So 3d6 fire. 7, 9. Oops, only one more. 6. That's 15 plus I think 5, right?
You tell me.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yep, that's 20 points of fire damage fired
Nice.
right back at.
So they strike you, and as you kind of fall down, and the spider to the side, and kind of you can see these huge jaws, and you'd imagine as this saliva drips down onto the stone, you hear tss, 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 and remember this is it's said to have some kind of a venomous bite.
Right.
But even as it lands and hisses at you, you fire this like energy. Part of your being a tiefling just rips forwards and strikes her. Doesn't do as much damage as you would think.
Of course.
That was 22?
It's not going to be effective down here. That's alright. 20 total. So 10 if it's out.
All right. That is her turn. That brings us to Akka. What would you like to do more when you're on deck? Akka, you see this all happen, though you are still invisible.
So the guy in front of me is still prone, right?
Correct, yeah. Until his turn, he's prone.
Can I move over him without him noticing since I'm invisible to get through the door?
Is that
or
what
to
you're
the
doing?
doorway?
You can move
Yeah.
through allies, I think.
Yeah. I want to move into the doorway so that I can see what's in there.
Okay, so getting to the doorway and looking to the right, you do see. And I will say, just because you would be aware of this, you've run into them before, these two are the ones that you know as despots. They are almost monk-like. They do remind you in ways of Shay, although where Shay has these rapid, very accurate strikes, these gentlemen just do a ton of damage with these big, very much earthbender-style martial arts.
What is the guy in the back? Does he look like the leader or something?
I would say
Or
the-
does that just
Make a
does he
general-
actually look different?
make a general intelligence check. They all look different. I
Right.
mean, they're, it's the only thing that you see in common on a few of them. There is this black spider that you know to be the symbol
Oh,
of
it's
the armor.
the
that
same
crawls.
armor that I had.
Yes.
Okay, that was a 18. flat
18?
intelligence?
18 hits.
No, that was just a
Oh,
flat
for-
intelligence for seeing that guy.
So
It's-
from what you can tell, you do know that these two are the
Yeah.
despots.
Mhm.
These all seem to be, warriors of different kinds.
yeah,
The
okay.
ones that just leaped over to you seem like leaders. Those would be
right, those are the
ones.
two leaders, right?
The one that I'm surrounded by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's easy.
Okay.
I'll just take them both on.
You're fine. You're the only one there.
Apparently so.
All right.
I'm causing the ruckus.
I think I can get all of those people in a hypnotic pattern.
What's the size of hypnotic?
30-foot cube.
Yeah, that's 6 by 5. No, 5.5.
30, 30, everybody but him. Or
6
you could get everybody but him. You have to leave one person out.
Including the ogre is also trapped in it, right?
If you wanted to get the ogre,
If I do...
it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
6 by 6.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Oh, yeah, you can get all of them. No,
Yeah, that's... Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go in... I'm gonna stay where I am because I don't have to move.
You will no longer be invisible.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna, like, kind of go off a little bit to the side so that I'm not in the way of the guy who's still prone when I become visible. I want to be in an advantageous position so that
So you want to
if
come off here?
yeah, so that like basically when he gets up, I'm not gonna be in the way of Shay. Well, actually, I don't know that they're there.
Sure. So you shuffle back and you actually kind of bump into Shay, so you know that somebody's there. Shay or
Okay.
Morwen.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna cast Hypnotic Pattern in the room to get all those other guys.
That's
Okay.
outside, right?
Yeah, that's outside, but you are still underground, so kind of hard
It's
to
a
like
room.
think
it's
of
just
it
like
outside.
a large room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah,
huge room. It's a city
Like
block.
we're inside of this building. And
Right,
that's the
and that's
street.
the
Yeah.
hall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you cast this spell, and as the almost watercolor-like symbols kind of drift off your armor and materialize into the air, they stretch and elongate, the brushstrokes becoming these swirling patterns. And this greenish glow takes the area. What kind of a save is that?
It is a Wisdom save.
Wisdom save. Okay, so first for this ogre. What happens on a failure?
They become charmed for the duration. While charmed, the creature is incapacitated and has a speed of 0.
So the ogre picks up this dwarf, hurls him, and then just looks up at this
I'm
like
actually
brilliant
picturing it
pattern.
like a Doom show where everyone's just like slowly
Sure.
do the music
So, yeah,
like,
just-
together.
And just kind of begins to like wobble back and forth. The
'Cause that's
others,
exactly what they look like.
I'm gonna break them into two groups. It's gonna be the despots and then the
first.
warriors. So the despots first. That is going to be a failure. So as soon as they're like at mid stride, one of them like eats shit and kind of falls to one knee and stands up, just looking. The other one stops, just kind of coming to a stop and looking up. The warriors, for some reason, are gonna. What's your save DC? 17.
18.
Okay, they fail. So I don't actually have enough status markers for that. So we're just. they're all the same.
Yay.
What's it called? Charmed.
Get
Charm.
some.
Which is effectively what's the
Incapacitated and
Incapacitated.
speed of 0.
okay?
I think the only thing is, spell ends if it takes any damage or if someone else uses an action to shake it out of its stupor.
Yeah. So well done for all of you. You can't really see the patterns, but on the other side of the door, this greenish light begins to flare up, and you can see shadows cast in. Anything else, Sokka?
I think.
You have 10 feet of movement left.
I think probably bonus action, telekinetic shove, the one that is squaring off with Heinrich.
This
there.
one? So
Yeah.
into the wall?
I
Yeah.
love this.
Fantastic. All right. Yeah. So what's the save on that?
D6 bonus damage.
It just bonus action to shove a creature 5
strength
feet.
save against.
I think. Yeah. Let me see here.
Pretty sure it's a strength.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I think it's strength.
That is an 18 if it's strength.
Let me see.
If it's constitution, it's 17. So it does make a difference.
Strength save DC 18.
Okay. So that's going to pass.
Just
So
pass.
you press out with your mind and you see this wind go by, but he holds firm. Doesn't even seem to notice. Anything else?
Then I think I'm just gonna kind of back up a little so that I'm not in the prone guy's range. So like, just 5 feet. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. That is Aka's turn. That brings us to you, Morwen. Shay, you're on deck.
You got a minute.
I'm curious, just like, is when we were walking around earlier or observing everybody, did the twins seem well respected or liked?
You would have needed to make an insight check back there. In the middle of combat, kind of tough to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I meant just throughout like the whole thing, but I guess we didn't really hear a bunch of
The
them.
only person that you've heard spoken about them was the Grey Lady, and she's a little biased. Unclear.
Yeah. Well, I treated the other little guy pretty poorly, but whatever. I'm gonna help Heinrich out.
Okay, so you wheel around, and you're gonna go this way.
No longer invisible.
Um,
That's fine. First
For
attack.
me, that's okay.
That's true. And also the
Who's
first
to say
attack.
not really?
Regardlessly, irregardlessly, it's at
Yes.
advantage. I'm assuming with invisibility and all.
You
the
were
engagement
invisible,
and
so
all
it's
that.
at advantage. Yes.
Okay.
And an ally within range too.
So that right now you're in one of the very few situations where swashbuckler doesn't give you advantage because you are within 5 feet of that.
Right.
You have to not be within 5 feet, or
An ally of theirs needs to be.
yeah, it's one
Oh,
of the
so I
other.
don't get my bonus?
You do
I
because
right?
of-
invisible, but only
yeah.
this one time.
I'll never learn. Alright, so it was a 18 plus
20.
so it's a 30.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay.
Just a little
Well,
bit.
I get plus
Ooh,
12.
this
Definitely.
is the rapier.
Yes.
Okay.
Loose.
Loose.
Alright, so we'll do this first. Alright, guys. Math.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
You can music up a bit.
Foregathers, thank you for following.
so it's 21
Okay.
plus so that's 33.
33 points of damage. And damn. Okay. So reaching forward, you run and draw the sword out as you do. For this brief moment, this purple light zing, out through the area. You don't see the blade, you don't see the person, but the light takes a space, and then suddenly the light darts forwards, and Morwen's there. The sword just strikes into this guy. Directly in front of you, Morwen just appears. The blade kind of poking out in front of you and then pulling through.
Hi.
You see he just kind of turns a little bit at this, and you'd imagine you've caught his attention.
Oh,
Anything
yeah.
else?
I'm going to just like poke, leave,
Okay.
and hide around the corner.
So
Bonus action hide.
poke.
Cunning action hide.
As he begins to turn, you just dart backwards and around the corner. And easy enough for you, as he like kind of swings like half-heartedly with fancy footwork, you're just gone.
Okay.
Great.
Well, I mean, is there a point of really rolling to hide?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like I do.
Yeah, definitely do it.
Use that bonus action.
Oh, fuck you. Okay. No, sorry. It was a 20 and then it was like 14.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
No, but 14 plus 15, so I think I'm good.
29. Yeah,
Without
that's
having
pretty
to
good.
do the math, I think,
Pretty
I
healthy.
think I'm,
It's not bad.
Pretty healthy, stealthy.
yeah.
Nobody sees Morwen return. Nobody sees her leave.
No,
It's as if nothing
I
happened.
just see stab and that's it.
Yeah, you just it's
Morwen
for this
exists
moment.
only in the universe when stabbing.
This is the anime thing where all of a sudden it's just and you see for one moment and
sorry,
then it's
kidding.
gone.
Yep.
Nothing personal, etc., etc. Yeah.
Anyways, that is Morwen's turn. You feel pretty hidden. That brings us to Shay. What would you like to do?
Can I see this steeder still? Or the spider thing?
No, so it crawled along the wall and then went around the corner.
Oh, okay. But I can see this dwarf, yes?
Yes, certainly.
You know what? I'm gonna hit the one that's on the ground.
Fantastic. Just go ahead and roll at advantage because he is prone.
And she's invisible.
So I guess
No longer, but
And flanking.
we're not doing flanking.
Oh.
28.
28 hits. Go ahead and roll damage for that.
Yeah.
In person
Also,
No.
figures.
make a constitution save.
Wow.
Try.
I really missed having a map like that.
Nope.
Yeah. I don't know exactly
That
what's
is
going
11 points of damage,
Okay.
and he is
Yeah,
stunned
not
until the
just
end
like
of
that.
my next
on.
turn.
Yeah.
literally like who's closest? That one.
How much was that?
11.
Damn it, he is stunned.
Literally
Go
pick
the
one.
next closest.
Alright, so we got Stun Boy. And then again, everyone outside the room is incapacitated with a speed of
And
0.
then
You're at the Doom Show.
my last 2 hits, I'm gonna run up and deal it to the guy with Heinrich.
And then you
Just
just
like take that dude out for a while, and then we're all gonna focus on our objective here.
27
Hell yeah.
27. Fantastic,
yeah.
that hits.
for 10.
10 points of damage.
Okay, everyone hit with me. Hit with me.
And a 28
28 hits as well.
for 11.
11.
And then I want to back up to my initial spot.
So, Shay, you look down at this individual who's beginning to climb up. You turn, and as you do, you just kick him right in the face. You hear this kind of crack as the head jerks to the side. He still tries to get up, but you see, like, you hear behind you this, ugh. You take off running and you follow the same path as the spider. You turn and run right along the wall. Heinrich, for you, you see Shay coming horizontally turned at you before she turns in, and just straight 2 shots down, and then you drop with your momentum. You crouch all the way down and then just spring backwards, and Shay just catches herself on the wall and right around the corner.
I
and
love
gone.
how we have no like tank character that can engage and stay engaged.
Yeah.
There's literally not a single combat throughout this entire campaign where someone has like dueled or like stayed up with anyone. It's just hit, run, range, range.
Yep, it's a lot of that. So, Shay, anything
Enemies are
else?
free to move about unless
that
we stun them,
is it.
basically.
So you return. You see the guy who was beginning to get up suddenly just kind of slip and fall back down as you come back around the corner. That is your turn. It is now the Duragar's turn.
Baby Edward.
All of them outside are currently stunned. Do they save at the end of their turn? Or is it just straight charm for a minute? It might be.
Straight charm
Yeah, that's what I
for
thought.
until
It's
it
just
ends
easier
or
to get
until they
them.
take damage.
It's easy to get them out of it. It's hard.
Yeah.
Unless they're all
until
in
I
there.
drop concentration or until they take damage,
Until you
or
drop
are
concentration.
shaken out of their stupor by
So
another
the only
character.
Duragar that is
action.
not
As an
is
action.
not charmed is currently stunned.
Okay.
So you just see the one who's like trying to get up, and Shay, you see every now and then he just kind of tries to prop himself up, and his arm just doesn't work. So it's like this noodle where he just, and it just like hits the ground. He is unable to get up. That is their turn. That brings us to Heinrich.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I'm no longer concentrating on that thing
Correct.
spell anymore, so we're good on that. I'm gonna do a little bit different. So, categorically, are the Duergar a size class smaller than me? I.e., can I move through them?
They are considered medium creatures.
Okay, so no.
No.
Unless I like try to get by.
Correct.
Do I have any line of sight on Morwen?
At this moment,
Actually,
No,
she hid.
she's
Just
hidden.
done.
Yeah,
Never
so
mind.
she- with a
well,
30
good luck getting healed. All right, never mind. So what I'm gonna do is
what do you want to do?
this is kind of interesting. I will still eventually try to get by them, but for the first and foremost, I'm going to try casting Enemies Abound on the spider that thing is riding.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Nice.
It just needs an intelligence save, 18 or higher. There's
Does
no,
it require a minimum intelligence?
It does not.
Okay,
It does
yeah.
not. I double checked that right
stupid
beforehand.
Spider.
Yeah.
And it was 18 or higher?
Yeah.
That's going to be a 2.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. So everything is its enemy. It must attack the closest creature near it, thinking that it's an enemy, basically, so including the rider.
Mhm.
And at the end of its... No, only when it takes damage can it attempt to save again.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's for a full minute.
Fantastic.
And again, it's creatures at random that it can see and within
Is it
reach.
considered, so is it considered to have a status, or is it just believed that these things are,
It's...
I'm going to put charm on it,
fail
just so that I
save.
remember.
At most, I would say fear.
I'm going to put
Because it
charm
says
just so that
immune
we
to being
remember.
frightened, it automatically succeeds, but other than that, it just says it regards all enemies as,
Sure.
or all creatures as enemies. Doesn't
I'm putting the
have to
charm thing on it just so we remember.
For,
But
for sure.
for the moment, suddenly you see all these eyes begin to just shift around.
Yeah.
And
It must attack, do opportunity attacks if able to as well.
okay. So technically, it is in range of 2 people.
Right.
The closest
Roll a
is probably
d4
the
for
one
me,
that's
and on an
top.
even number, he's going to attack you, and an odd, it's going to attack the Duragar.
D4 you said?
Yep.
Odd, number 1.
Nice.
It's a Duragar, so
He was no
that
more.
sucks.
And now in all future turns, if anything moves out, if it's still under reaction, it has to
That's gonna
attack
hit.
anything leaving it.
Hang on. This is
Nice.
so this Duragar makes a Constitution saving throw with a natural 1.
You're an elite
Oh
squadron.
shit!
After that,
Heinrich, that
Yeah.
was well done.
Yeah, that's right. It's a
Um,
spell I've never used. No, I've used once, but never effectively.
yeah, I didn't know you had that.
Yep.
Look
9,
at you, learning stuff.
10.
Well, it's after not playing Hunter for a while, I come back and it's all fresh and new. I'm like, that's cool. Why have I never used that?
Why haven't I done that before?
So you see the eyes begin to dart around, and it looks to be tracking multiple things. Suddenly, it just reaches back. It kind of like falls to the side, and this rider is pitched to the side. It rights itself, and as she goes over, it slashes out. You can see one of the fangs just barely grazes the arm, and you see the wound and burn and begin to go down. You see almost an inch begin to like move down. It hurts a lot, and you see her grit her teeth in pain, but she will react in her turn.
Okay.
Anything else?
May I, given that my strength is so darn high, try to move past this and into this chamber with all of my friends?
It would so that would be a shove action-ish,
Okay,
and
so
so I
then
would say
if
for an
not-
action.
So then, if not, that's fine. The only other thing that I can do as a bonus action. No, I guess that's kind of it. I think I'm just kind of stuck here.
Okay.
So, literally, no bonus actions that are effective at this moment.
Okay. That is your turn.
Yes, and now I have my reaction back.
That brings us to the top of the round. It is their turn. Akka, you are on deck. Let's see. So they are going to. Well, they are dismounted. They're thrown.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that they're prone also, because that would just makes sense.
Unexpectedly,
She's
yeah.
have to stand. All right. So that puts her in a very interesting situation.
Yes, right.
I'm just gonna make just an intelligence check real quick.
Hoisted their own petard.
Petard. Yeah.
You can see she kind of
Connor.
takes a step back. The eyes furrow. You hear her just say something in Dwarvish to the spider. It's like a question almost.
Yeah.
What does it
She
say?
brandishes her weapon, this kind of short bow, like as if she's about to strike it, but doesn't.
Okay.
She's going to hold her action.
Okay.
Her tease is going to do no such thing. He's going to turn around. He's not really smart. He's going to run 5, 10,
Reaction,
15, 20, 25.
Opportunity attack with the spell
I think
because I
that
can
might
do that.
be-
You would also get an opportunity attack. So he doesn't see you. So he just runs right by. Opportunity
question-
attack first.
So
Yes.
question, because I can, as long as the spell targets one creature, I can do it on that creature.
Correct.
If it's a ranged spell, is that a disadvantage because they're still within 5, or is it as they leave the 5 and are no longer at that disadvantage range?
I'm gonna say that's still disadvantage
That's
range
totally fine, I'll
it's
take
yeah
it.
because it's the you have to be within that range
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make
yeah,
the attack.
that's fine. I'll fucking take it. It's
Yeah,
Eldritch Blast.
for sure.
So like all 3 beams right at. So first one, either 14 or 2. My misses with a 12.
Okay.
Pass. Second beam, 12 or 16, so 22 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, for a total of 7 radiant,
7 radiant.
and
Okay.
pushes an extra 10 just to throw them off guard if that matters. I don't know if you want to flavor that like anything if they're running.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, and then the last beam, either a 12, damn shitty damage. Another 22 for
That-
another
that
7
hits.
damage.
7 damage. All right. So in total, that brings us to. Okay. So as he begins to run, you turn, and these Eldritch blasts, the celestial glyphs glowing in this very Doctor Strange-like way around your arms. As each one flies out, some go wide, some do hit home, and you can see one strikes him like right on the rear end, and he has to kind of like hop and move forwards.
So
He
like
does
the
strike the
cartoony,
wall.
"Yow!"
Yeah, exactly. And you see he does the armor does scrape this big gouge in the wall as the barbs just kind of drag along the stone. But continues to run up, runs up to where you are, Morwen. If you want to make an opportunity attack, you
Oh,
certainly
yeah, I
may.
do.
Does it have advantage?
Yeah, it is.
Yay!
You're hidden.
More stat.
I'll ask for you every time.
Thank you. Love you. So that is going to be a dirty 20.
Dirty 20 hits. Go ahead and roll damage with sneak attack.
Wow.
We're an elite squadron.
I think so. I think we're level 14. And have honed in on our specialty.
Yeah, it's like you guys have been playing this game for 2 years.
Yeah. I think you can tap up the music. It seems like some tracks have like
Yeah.
louder mixes
It's
than
when I have a chance, I can actually like
34.
customize everything, including which songs play for each
Through
little thing. But
Sirenscape.
through Sirenscape, a digital tool set for dungeon masters who like to use such things for music and sound effects, etc., etc. Usually at the beginning, thank you for reminding me.
Sirenscape.
34.
34 points of damage. All right, 90 points. Oh.
What?
Not a
34?
sponsor.
Yes.
So you can
Yes,
see
sir.
first this zap kind of hits him on the butt, and he jumps and kind of scrapes along the wall, climbs the stairs, and as he does, you get your sword straight into the shin. It actually digs into the
It's
calf.
like booby trapped with people.
Yeah, this is Home Alone if there was no traps.
It was just like a bunch of Macaulay Culkins with
Yeah,
different weapons.
exactly. He used his cloning ability. So you see the calf seize up as the whole thing locks as the blade pierces into it. He stumbles forwards and kind of trips and falls, smashes his face into the stone, but like continues to crawl up. I'm gonna say with that, that might be enough to draw his attention. Nope, he's gonna turn it completely, go straight after you, Shay,
Okay.
and he is going
These
to
are
take.
the battle arena people, right? So they're kind of used to this shit.
Yeah,
Sort of.
this is not uncommon for them. That is going to be a 20 to hit.
That misses.
That misses. And the second one is going to be a 20. Sorry, a 19 to hit, so that misses as well. All right, so he runs forwards, and as he does, you can see he like gets stabbed in the shin. You see Morwen now. All of a sudden, as the blade comes out, suddenly the coat, and you can see the red for just a second. But you see this guy stumble forwards. He turns, and you understand in Dwarvish him just go, shit! Turns back towards you, and he's like limping along now. Thrown completely off, swings wide once, swings wide again, blood pooling around his ankle. But he's intent on attacking you. That is his turn. It is going to be Long's turn. She held her action. It is the spider's turn. The spider is going to continue attacking its owner.
I think for fairness, you want me to read out the whole thing because there is a random effect.
Yes. Okay, so that's important.
So whenever the affected creature chooses another creature as a target, it must choose that target at random from among the creatures it can see within range of the attack spell or other ability it is using.
Roll a d4 for me, same thing.
I just want to be fair about it.
Appreciate
it's not
it.
like,
Well, it's when it chooses a different target.
chooses
If it's
another
still-
target.
If
You're
it's
right.
still engaged.
Yep, so
No,
it's
you're
still,
right, it's still engaged.
it's
Never
going
mind,
to stay
never mind.
engaged with this target.
You're
so
right. You're
it's going to make 2 attacks.
Thanks for that wording clarification.
Okay, both are going to miss. So that's nice.
Yeah, it's a mount. It's not.
And that's all it's going to do. That is going to bring us to Akka. Your turn. Morwen, you're on deck.
All right.
Akka, from your perspective, you can hear this commotion going on, but you don't see anything. And suddenly, this dwarf sprints out, stumbles forwards, and you
Gets
see
shot twice.
You don't see Morwen, but you just see this of blood hit the stone, and then he starts limping over and just swings wide at Shay. What would you like to do?
Seems like he hasn't noticed me, right?
He's not real smart, and he seems to be pretty intent on Shay at this moment.
Cool. I'm gonna use Mind Sliver on him.
Yeah.
So he has to succeed on an int save.
So he rolled a 14. That's going to put him at 13.
Cool. So that fails.
He's not
so
smart.
he's gonna take 3d6 of psychic damage.
All right.
And his next save is minus a d4.
Do it. Make it so.
All right, so that's 8 plus 3. So is that solid 11?
Talon, thank you for subscribing.
11 psychic damage.
11 psychic damage.
And then I'm gonna use my bonus action to telekinetically shove him towards me,
Okay.
which is over the prone guy.
Yeah,
the
for
stunned
sure.
guy.
Absolutely.
The
go
stunned
for it.
end prone guy.
Yeah, that's totally a nice thing to do.
So he needs to make a strength save minus a d4.
He rolled a 2, so just for fun.
So that's a...
It's a 0.
That's a -4.
So you watch as all of a sudden he runs up, misses, swings wide once, and he swings wide again. And as he misses Shay, you use that moment to push him forwards. And Shay, you see this kind of, and then and he just goes straight to the side. Go ahead and make your attack of opportunity.
Holy
It does
shit.
leave your range.
Yeah. Who needs a tank when we can move
It's
everyone
5
out
or
of the
10
way?
feet.
Is it?
It's the guy standing.
Right, and 10 feet.
And he goes 5 feet onto the stunned guy, I guess.
So he, okay.
We trip.
He like trips over him or something.
28
28, that hits. Roll for damage.
for 11.
11 points of damage. So he's looking rough. At this point now, like, he just got stabbed in the leg. He limps over. He misses you twice. From out of nowhere, suddenly he just gets yanked out to the side. You strike him as he goes. Anything else?
Just kind of wave at him.
Okay. You see he looks
He's
at
on
you.
the ground.
I don't think he doesn't really notice that you have. Anything else? That's your turn?
Yeah, that's it. For me.
All right, Morwen, you are up. What would you like to do? Shay, you're on deck.
I mean, I'm just gonna keep
Concentration.
stabbing this
Yeah,
guy.
go for it. There's 2 people.
Shish kebab.
There's 2 people.
12
So you
seconds.
can see off to your right. You need to move either your you need to move here or here, but you can.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once it hits me, it'll be
Whatever,
full
to
12.
just
Although
focus
it's
in on
silent.
the
So
one guy.
you swing around to the side right as this
Stagger it.
dwarf kind of stumbles over. They're currently basically like just they're kissing right now.
Aw,
yeah,
I don't wanna
one's,
bring
like,
that up.
on top of the
Never
other.
mind. I leave. No, I wish them luck. I ship
You
it.
hold out a ruler. Hey, break it up.
Yeah, 6 feet apart. Yeah.
Leave
okay.
room for more.
This sword is 6 feet. If it stabs, that's your
And
fault.
it's at advantage because they're prone.
It is. Yeah, it's at advantage because they're prone. You have to
Fuck
do.
it, right?
You have to do like math every
Yeah.
time because you have to do. Okay, is it this? Yes. Is it this?
Yeah.
Yes. Is it
Well,
this?
It's logic
No.
gates and then math at
Yes.
the end of it.
25.
25
This
hits.
series of checks carries 6d6 of damage. With
Yeah.
it.
You have to do the paperwork to get
Yeah.
the result.
That's a pretty healthy roll there, dude. I love this bag of
I like that I can see now, so I can like be like, oh man, that's
yeah,
rough.
yeah. Every time she rolls the high ones, and I'm just like, oh, now you can share.
I watch for your reaction when she rolls. How much?
46.
Those are good little
Nice.
They're great.
damage d6.
So you turn around, and as he falls forwards and kind of like catches himself, he sneers at this guy, and then you just stab him in the back. His face expression kind of changes. Shay, you can see suddenly the eyes go wide, blood from the mouth. He's still up, but he's hurt. He's looking pretty rough. That was him being.
He's up but down.
I would like to butts him then.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Where'd my... Okay, well, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Natural 20 for butts.
That's happened.
Crit
That's the
butts.
third time that you've gotten a crit with butts
A
just
crit
in the
butts.
campaign.
Critical butts.
So go ahead, roll your attack with your offhanded weapon and double it.
Minimum damage on the critical. Wowzers.
All right.
I mean,
Worth it!
fair.
Those are really painful.
Would have only been 2.
He coughs out this little bit of blood, and he doesn't even notice as you lash out and kind of nick his ear a little bit in the side. But every bit helps.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna use my remaining
He actually
movement
lost most
to
of
get
his
on the
ear.
other side, like kind of maybe right here.
Surgically, though.
Yeah.
It's a critical
You
surgical.
back up
move.
there and kind of bump into the wall. That is your
Didn't
turn.
notice, but it's gone.
Shay, what would you like to do?
First hit on the one under him who
Yep.
is stunned
Okay.
for a 29.
29 hits.
He also needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
You will do that. Natural 20. So I'm going to say he probably makes that.
That
If,
is
is
11
he stunned?
points.
Does he just automatically fail?
He's stunned until the end of my turn.
So
But
you're
for con
trying-
sa- it's
you're
a
trying
con
to like
save.
re-put it.
Oh,
down
for the
on him.
con
Yeah.
save.
Okay.
Okay, so.
But he's still stunned until the end of my turn.
He's going to double stun. But I'm just have him be there. And then for sake of ease, he's just going to shift over there because it's hard. But they're on top of each other.
And then I'll hit the guy on top
Okay.
with the next one.
Yeah,
Punch sandwich.
28.
that hits.
No, I did not say knuckle sandwich on purpose. No, I did forget that was a
10.
10. Okay.
Is he still moving?
So no, as you hit the first guy, he doesn't seem to notice too much because he's in rough shape. So you go over to the other guy and you just hit him. He just goes still. He was like trying to get up, just flopping around, and he was like still stunned from before. Right as he seems to be able to get his like hand on the ground firmly, you kick it out from under him and then just kick him in the face. He seems to be gone.
Flurry of blows on the one that's remaining. For dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Dirty 20 hits. I don't know why I checked
For
that.
7.
7 points of damage. Oh,
And a 25.
25 hits.
For 12.
12. Tell us how it happens for Ortiz. The, yeah. He had 7 hit points left on that.
Starts bleeding from all of the orifices.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Ruptured
So
everything.
you can see as he like tries to get up, you hit him once in the stomach, coughs out blood. You hit him again in the side of the head, and from the ear and nose, it's just, and then just again and again, and all of a sudden you're just hitting wet pavement. But he is dead.
Gross.
Well done.
Wowzers.
All right. Anything else, Shay?
Yeah, what else you got, huh?
To move down to not right where Heinrich is, but like 5 feet up.
Right here.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So you run down. You can hear somebody. Actually, you can't hear Shay.
No. I'm busy.
That is your turn. That brings us to the Duragar. The only one who could potentially do anything is dead. The other ones are all just staring at this beautiful sight. You see this ogre still staring at this sight, just this, ugh. That is their turn. That is going to bring us to Heinrich. What would you like to do?
Do I have line of sight over this spider to the
Yeah, absolutely.
to her
Because
range.
it's like crawling partially on the wall, partially on the ground. You can definitely see her.
It has had its turn as well. The spider did.
Yes.
So it got its reaction back.
Sure.
So I'm going to Eldritch Blast, push away. Maybe even down the stairs.
Yeah, sure.
And
Give it a
just
shot.
trigger. Using my environment to my advantage.
This is at disadvantage as you are within 5 feet of it.
No, not the spider.
Oh, her. Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure,
so
sure,
I'm,
sure.
I'm pushing her away from the spider, who will then hopefully swipe
Make
back,
your
'cause
attack rolls.
force that.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the All right. So regular, right?
Mhm.
And I keep rolling fucking 2 of this thing. So that's 24 to hit.
24 hits.
Okay, that's 7 damage.
Okay.
That is 19 to hit.
19. Yep, 19 hits.
Okay, for 8 damage.
Ooh,
I know,
yeah.
moving on up one by one. And then the last one, which will push, or does not, one of them will push. Damn it, the highest damage. 14.
14. 14 damage
Yeah, no, 14 to
to hit. Oh, that misses,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Which was like, I rolled max on that one.
Oh, of course. So,
So
one of them is going to
8,
push
7, second one,
5 or 10 feet.
10.
So, you see all of a sudden, she's pushed, and I'm gonna make this attack.
Up, down
But
the
Down the
stairs.
stairs.
Yeah, straight down the
That's
stairs.
right.
You just hear this.
Environment, attack.
Ha!
Yeah, that's right. I
And
am
just-
back.
Yeah, that for what it's worth, that is it's kind of a spiral staircase, and it's about 100 feet down.
Oh, yeah!
So that's like you hear them just
Oh,
going down
yeah.
and down and
Clanging
down.
all the way down.
However, as you push them out of the way, the spider is going to make an attack of opportunity.
Fucking right.
It's going to miss pretty badly.
Well, it's
so
at least worth
it
a shot.
snaps out at that, but just as it falls down the stairs, out of range, you just hear this. It's going to go down at least one flight. So max damage on the stairs.
Damn.
Maximum stair damage. All right.
Maximum
I like
stair
that.
damage.
That's my favorite kind.
That is.
That was me doing my attack. Bonus action.
1 bludgeoning damage per stair.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dead. Tell us how it happens,
Yeah.
Stairs.
Everyone just sits there and listens.
The 53rd
Nice.
is just like, I did the most.
I got a critical.
53rd stair, come fight me.
Yeah.
53, yeah. Alright. I can't move by Shay. I guess I have the best chance at fending off this spider from everyone, so I'll just stay here, unfortunately. Plus, I don't want to. Oh no, it just tried to opportunity attack. So I'm going to actually move into the room and look for Morwen.
So getting into like here and
Yeah.
looking around, she did not hide. Oh, no, did you hide? No.
No.
You look over and you do see kind of crouched in the corner Morwen.
Found me.
There we go. Alright, 5d6 of healing.
At this
I know
point,
you were
too,
exhausted.
looking forwards, you can see through the door these people all looking at nothing. But you
Yeah.
see like little bits of drool coming down one of the ogres, like yeah.
There's like, so I come out, I look left, I look right, I look out, I see that, I look over at Akka, give him like an approvative nod, and then just look over at Morwen and just like, healing light, oh, come on. Healing light on Morwen, because I know that Morwen's hurting from before, never really got a chance to rest. So that's 20 points of healing.
So Heinrich looks at Akka and then looks to you,
Nod of like, good work, yes, perfect.
and then you can just see these glyphs swirl to life, letting out these teal sparks. And as they like surround you, almost like a backdrop, they rush forwards and almost seem to pass through you, Morwen. But as they do, they stitch your wounds back together. How much healing?
Got that 20 points of healing.
Nice, very nice. All right, that is your turn. That brings us. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong battle. That's Anise, and that's Sloan. That brings us. That brings us to
Oh dear.
top of the round. It is her turn and the spider's turn. I'm gonna give her a dex save to stop falling. 'Cause that's a long staircase.
And it's curving, which is harder to stabilize yourself on, probably.
Yep.
You hear further and further as she continues to fall.
Alright, here we go.
Damn.
Takes an additional 2 points of stare damage.
I hope that the Grey Lady is watching this one. And
She's
kind of
just
shaking her head like this.
going. The spider is going to wheel around and look because it no longer has an opponent.
Sure.
Roll a d4, and on an odd number, it's going to go down the stairs, and on an even number, it's going after you.
Nice.
It's a 3!
You see, it looks around, looks at you for a second, but the eyes seem almost blind and mad, and it turns back around, begins to crawl down. You
I feel
see
like
it
Shay
just
would just
disappear.
notice that. I'm out of the room now.
Ow!
Ow! Stop biting me! I'm falling! Stop biting me!
It's gonna. Well, it's faster than she's falling, so yeah, it's gonna catch up. But we'll get there later. So, That is their turn. That brings us to Akka. You are up, and Morwen, you're on deck. Akka, from your perspective, at this moment, looking around, you don't see anybody down here. You see Heinrich return. You see Shay kind of turning. You notice that this group's still very much distracted, but that spell does have a time limit. What are you doing?
Well, I know that I still have like about 50 seconds, a little less than 50 seconds until this thing wears off.
You have 43 seconds left.
So I'm gonna quickly loot the body of Ortiz and then make my way
We're back,
away.
There we go. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Damn, that's what I was gonna do.
I've got a minute. Contract is done. I'm not even a part of it. I'm getting the fuck out of here in 50 seconds.
Why not?
got one
What
more
was
to
the
go
check
after,
that I'm
though.
doing?
This is an investigation check.
Investigation check.
Still have to
In the
go
midst
back.
of battle, as you bend down.
Wait, for what, Malware?
We gotta get
What's my investigation?
And we have another.
Karan's the
No,
trans.
Yourself out.
No, another 2 on the
I'm
contract.
gonna
I think there's 4 total.
Use a flash of
Transmitter.
genius. Make it a 22.
Okay.
It's just these 2. Really cool.
With a 22, as you bend down in the midst of this battle, the green glow kind of coming in from the door, and then the teal from the sparks of Heinrich's spell, you find a razor straight-edged great axe, although it's sized for a dwarf, so kind of like a little bit bigger than a hand axe for a regular person. You see within the pockets there are these vials, and shaking them there is this blackish liquid that leaves these legs along the edge of the glass, so it is like a very viscous kind of liquid.
Poison that they
Perhaps.
were said to use.
You also find a small pouch, and as you kind of pull it out, it seems to have like money in it, so you can stash that away and look at it later. And with a 22, really, that's kind of all you would find. He is wearing this armor covered in spikes and barbs, but almost as if doesn't walk around with a whole lot within this home city.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take the potions and the money.
Okay.
I'm gonna take. I guess. I'm
Add
gonna take
three
everything.
vials. Put a little R next to it,
Okay.
and then you can take whatever else you would like.
The money, and then what was the last thing?
It's like a great axe, but I would put it in
It's
as
like a hand axe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else, Akka?
I'm gonna make my way back towards the exit that I know of.
That's 10 feet.
No, not that way.
Oh.
Not towards the people. Away from the people. I'm leaving.
So get to here with 30.
Like,
35? Because the
yeah, 35.
So you get up to where the door kind of lies open. You hear a commotion down the stairs.
Okay.
That is your turn. That brings us to Morwen. Morwen, looking around, you see all these people outside. You look, you see Akka just bend down, kind of rifle through one of the bodies, and then run down the stairs.
I was gonna take that.
There's
I'll
another
just
body.
run. And, whatevs.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna dash down the stairs to try to catch up to what's her name?
What is your speed?
Let's see. Oh, and I'll use feline agility too.
25,
so
30,
it would
35,
be
40, 45.
what? So dash doubles, and then feline agility doubles that.
Yep.
So
Right. So
120,
yeah,
wow.
120.
75.
I feel like once you hit your like striding speed and you get to the stairs, you're just like
You
running
get to
all over the
105 feet. You know, you're running down the stairs. You take the stairs like 3 at a time, kind of grabbing onto the walls as you do to keep yourself from falling. 10 feet in front of you. The rest of your movement will bring you up to the spider. As you get up to it, you can see maybe like 10 feet in front of that, this dwarf still falling. Still like end over end, just into the wall, then bouncing and then going down the next landing. But 10 more feet will get you to the spider, and you do have 10 feet.
You know what? I think I'll actually keep a little bit of a distance with the spider and see what the hell's going on.
Okay, so
Because I don't want to be in.
how far
spider
back do you want to be?
Eyesight but not in range.
Okay.
Can I do? Because is that like a legit answer?
It's going to be about 20 feet, yeah.
Okay.
So keeping them within range, you basically need to stay opposite the staircase that they're on. Then there's a landing, and as they go around the landing, you just chase and kind of get to the landing. You see them at the other end. But that is your turn, unless you have anything else. Alright.
Since I didn't take an action, I kind of just dashed with a. Or actually, I'll use my action to dash. Can I like do this stealthily?
It would be tough to do stealthily. It's
Okay,
tough to
okay,
run
fine,
100
it's
and
fine.
yeah. But fantastic. You begin to catch up. That is your turn. Shay, you see all of this happen. You look out the door, a bunch of people mesmerized. You see Akka and Morwen just gone down the stairs.
Follow down the stairs.
What is your full speed?
75.
Okay, so you run 75 feet. You can hear everything ahead. So you're action dashing?
Sure.
Okay. So that you can actually catch up. And so you catch up to where Morwen is. You look down. You can run all the way over to... You can go by the spider if you want. You can get to the spider. You can get to Morwen. Where are you trying to get to?
Can I... How far ahead of me is the spider and how much movement do I have left at that point?
So when you get to the spider, you would have roughly 20 feet of movement left. Because you have 145?
It would be 150.
150, so you have 25 feet left.
And how far down is the dwarf past the spider?
About 10 feet.
I'll hold behind Morwen for now.
Alrighty, so you hold behind Morwen.
All by myself.
I have this whole thing happening back here.
The staircase.
I'm just gonna play with my toys by myself. welcome back to Adventures in Alberon. Sorry about that abrupt break, but we are back. There was a Windows update that was very urgent.
Not a sponsor.
Definitely not a sponsor. Aggressively so. So, we're going to jump back into things. When we had left off, our group had assaulted the Thuldor, a number of Duragar, Akka, utilizing this hypnotic pattern. You were able to mesmerize the vast majority of combatants. This left the rest of you to square off with one Duragar and the twins, two of the Thuldor, those who endure, the leaders of this group. In a pitched battle that quickly turned one-sided, you managed to turn the spider, who is Shayless Matassa, this brutal tarantula-like creature, a denizen of the Underdark, against its very, very dominating rider. It chased her as Heinrich, you shoved her down the stairs, and that is where we are going to pick up. As she topples end over and down the stairs, this enemies abound, charmed spider chasing after her. Morwen about 10 feet behind them, or 20 feet behind them. Shay, you just behind Morwen. This brings us into combat. So, Akka, I believe we left off. The twins had just gone. Akka, what would you like to do? Because you're the only one left upstairs.
It's been about, what, like 20 seconds now?
You currently have 37 seconds left.
Alright, yeah, I'm gonna start heading down the stairs, kind of listening ahead to see
Okay.
if they're still falling.
You take 30 feet of movement. You get to the stairs,
35.
then 10 feet further. Oh, and then 5 more feet. You kind of stumble and fall 5 more feet down. You catch yourself. You can hear them ahead of you.
Alright, I guess I'm gonna use my action to move forward.
Okay, 35 4 feet gets you 80 feet total. Or, sorry, 75 feet total?
70 feet total.
70. I can do math. Watch that. So, 75 feet is going to bring you... 70. 70 feet is going to bring you... You can't quite see everybody. However, you can hear Morwen kind of in pursuit of this creature.
like-
You hear like the hiss of the spider.
Here,
I just
move them
hear
to the
the
stair
faint
dimension.
sounds, and I'm just like,
Technically,
click.
he's right here. So right now, we have Akka,
making my
we have
way
Heinrich,
downstairs.
we have Shay, Morwen, the spider, and this lady all in a row.
Got
Yeah.
about 35 more seconds.
You hear Akka as he like runs down a little bit out of breath.
I'm not running. I'm kind of just like making my way down the stairs at this
Just a
point.
light jog.
35 seconds.
That is Akka's turn. That brings us to you, Morwen. And then Shay. So Morwen, directly in front of you, 20 feet, you can see this creature pursuing this. Are you just holding your action, kind of following it?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna. If the spider gets out of the way, if they reverse at any situation or whatever, where where she's in front of me and the spider's not in between us,
Okay.
then I'll probably save an attack. I will save an attack for then, but I'm not going to otherwise.
Fair enough. So otherwise you're just following?
Mhm.
Excellent. Shay.
How tall are the stairs?
So like in terms
In
of the
terms of
ceiling?
like vertical space.
When you get to a landing, it's close to like 12 feet, but the staircases themselves about 6.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not in our own element.
I'm going to enable haste.
Okay.
And then I want to make my way down the stairs and add a landing, like between the spider but over her and down the stairs,
Over. Okay.
so that I'm down.
Make an acrobatics check.
I feel like this is a fair, diving action.
29.
Yeah. So you take off, and as you do, you dig into yourself and channel some of your ki to send this surge of adrenaline through your body. Suddenly, everything slows down around you as you accelerate even faster. You leap, and as you go forwards, you're able to go around Morwen, taking parts of the wall to kind of go from one to the other, and then kicking around the corner, Shay just disappears. Shay, you coast down the entire landing, not touching a single stair, kind of land, turn. You see the edge of the spider as it turns. Before the leg clears the corner, you're already behind it. 20 feet ahead of you, which is 50 feet of movement total, there is that next landing, and you can kind of stop there and wait for her to fall to you.
I want to go to the bottom of the stairs.
Okay, sure.
Or like at couple rounds down from where she does.
Okay, you have 300 feet of movement-ish, give or take, like 270?
It's 150 flat with haste.
Okay, and then if you wanted to.
And if I wanted to, I could up it.
So with 150 feet, you can get to the bottom of the stairs with 20 feet left.
Perfect.
And the rest of it jogging.
And you actually are already a little bit down the stairs, so you would have close to 50 feet left.
I'm gonna hold my action for if she makes it all the way down here.
Okay, so you just run down the stairs. It's turning and stopping. The wind keeps going, and you hold strong. That puts you at the bottom of the stairs. It is the end of your turn. It is the Duragar's turn. They're mesmerized. That ticks down 6 more seconds.
Well, they got like 5-6 rounds left of that.
They have 31 seconds left. Heinrich.
Okay. Where am I in relation to being able to reach and see and gain line of sight at shooting at the Duragar?
They go next. So you, if you were to go your full movement, you would get right behind Morwen.
Okay. Would I be
For
able to see
just
the
a moment?
Duragar? Or is it a little difficult? Is there partial cover? Blah, blah, blah.
You're running down to Morwen?
Yeah.
Okay, so running down to Morwen and like turning, the spider is only about 15 feet in front of you, and
Yep.
the Duragar only 20.
And I can see the Duragar.
Yeah, she's about to collide with the landing, and then
Okay.
maybe recover, maybe continue falling. We'll see.
Okay, perfect. Let's just try to keep this momentum going with
Okay.
another Eldritch.
Sure.
Round of Eldritch Blast.
There you go. Yeah,
Alright, oops, that's a D4.
it's gonna
That's
blast
a-
her around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, when you have like you set up like one of those marble shoot things
Yeah.
and it gets stuck and you just like tap it
Yeah,
to keep
yeah,
it
yeah,
going.
absolutely.
That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just enjoying the chaos that I
Sure, yeah.
begun. So firing off another Eldritch Blast.
Fantastic.
Natural
Okay.
20.
Yeah,
So the
roll
first
damage
one
on
is 8 plus. So 13 damage and 10 feet of shoving.
Okay.
That's a crit. Next one is a go fucking figure. Natural 1.
that. Okay. There
Should
you
I
go.
wait for that to resolve before it's shooting the last one?
So the first one, because it does move her 10 feet, that is going to be out of line of sight.
Okay.
But so basically, she poof into the end, and as she like sits, her eyes dazed,
Uh-huh.
she begins to get up, and you just hit her again, and it just kind of squirts her just
Ew.
right down the stairs. It's because you kind of push her into the wall, but because of the angle of
Sure.
it, she just falls down.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna give her a dexterity saving throw. That's a natural 1.
Okay, so 1 versus a 1 means everything.
You just, yeah, just goes down.
Can I, with the third beam, because it's all like simultaneous, do the third beam still?
It would have to be at the spider because she's
Oh,
down the landing.
so this is okay.
Because you moved her 10 feet and she was at the end of the landing, so
Yeah.
she just goes down. Yeah.
But okay, so even though they're all simultaneous,
Yeah. That one
Okay.
just kind of like fires forwards and hits where she just was.
I mean,
But
fine,
she's
I'll
she's
just-
gonna fall down the rest of this flight
I'll
of
shoot the
stairs.
last one up into the ceiling and just
Okay.
misintentionally. Yeah.
Just rocks rain down.
Okay. So at least nice, good healthy 14 damage.
Absolutely. That is
Okay.
your turn. That brings us to the top of the round. It is her turn.
More deck saves.
Yeah. I know these dudes
Okay.
have decks.
Minimum damage
They
from
got
the
good
stairs.
strength and con. That's about it.
Aw, those are the less pointy ones.
But she continues to fall. She cannot seem to stop herself. She stops for a moment, and then the Eldritch Blast
Lost a
down the
lot of her
stairs.
decks when she got off that
Yeah.
spider.
She
Yep.
seems to have, because she's rolled
Exactly.
a 4, a 1, and a 3 so far.
Yeah, I mean,
Ouch.
saw the weakness and just.
In terms of the
Cut that
flat
deal.
rolls, not like with modifiers. Yeah, pretty bad. So she continues to fall. You can hear her fall. This spider.
I chuckle in amusement as my bonus action.
Currently, based on how I understand this to be, Heinrich, can you roll a d4 for me, please?
Okay. It's a 1, which is an odd number. If we're
Just kind of
continuing
crawls.
this.
You see it hits the side of the wall and goes horizontal. The legs all bend and then down
Okay.
the side of the wall after her. We'll be able to catch up, and so we'll get its attacks.
Please do at least 1 to make this even more worth it. I mean, it's been worth it as fuck. So
That's
far.
2 hits.
Oh yeah, there it is.
That's a lot of damage. So the first one is going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20 points of acid damage for the first.
And her final words be my hubris.
We'll see, 10, 12, 15, 17, 21. That's getting pretty close. Yeah, so all you hear is just her falling, and then she strikes. And then you hear her falling and falling. She has taken almost 40 points of damage just falling down these stairs and getting bit by the spider.
I mean,
So-
like I said, I'm using my environment to my
There
advantage.
you go. That is their turn. That is going to bring us to twins. Akka, what would you like to do more when you're on deck?
I keep
Okay.
going down the stairs.
There you go. With 70 feet, you catch sight of Heinrich's cloak as it disappears around the corner. You're about 40 feet away from Heinrich.
All right.
You're 25 feet away from Heinrich. Sorry.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
All right. Like 26 seconds.
Yeah, continue
Just
down the way that
countdown.
we've been going. This is the way out. This is the way we came in.
Okay. Laura?
My turn's the same.
Okay, so you continue running. So for the moment, you guys seem to be
holding my
chasing her down the
action
stairs.
Yeah, I'm the kid with the stick poking at the anthill, and everyone else is just standing there watching.
So she falls to the. Just to accelerate this a little bit, she falls to the next landing. She's going to get a dexterity saving throw, which is another failure. So
Oh,
she's
yeah.
going to take another 3 points of stare damage.
Stare damage from the stairs or us staring at her falling?
Yes.
Her pride or
Yeah, it's psychic
What
damage.
psychic damage?
Roll a d4 for me.
Okay. Please.
This has been a
This has
crazy.
also been
I know.
really good roll.
Yeah.
Ah,
Hey,
missed it.
you jinxed
4
it.
in a row, not bad. On the 5th.
She hits the landing in front of you. Heinrich
Yeah.
continues to fall. And suddenly the spider with no target in front of it just wheels around on you, the eyes wide.
I'm the closest one.
Yes.
Which is far, because it moved after I moved up to just behind it. So it would have already chased down after for the last attack. So I would be, it's the distance of that away.
Fair enough, actually. So
Although, yeah.
it can't see you.
Oh, okay.
So actually, never mind. You just hear it continuing down. It's chasing its target. Fair point.
It
Okay.
looks around, he's like, meh.
Heinrich, if you
It's
so if
Oh,
everybody
see how this
runs up to
too.
the landing, you can
Yeah.
see her at the bottom. If you want, make your Eldritch Blast attacks.
Yeah, if we're going to just fast forward to the...
This is the
apparently-
last landing, and then it's 30 feet down to Red River Run. So
Okay, to where
Where is
Shay's
Shay?
waiting. Just like,
Shay's like finishing her lunch.
really quickly though, like sandwich into their
Well,
mouth.
she cooked it first.
True. She even took time to cut off the crust.
Yeah, she placed the
Alright.
order, ran to
Eldritch
pick it up.
Blast, first one, 24.
24
for
hits.
fucking 7 damage again,
Okay.
rolling low on the shit. Next one, and then 24 for 13 damage.
13, nice.
There we go. And the last one, 21
21 hits.
for another 7 damage. We're all like
7,
bummed with this stuff, but that's okay. Pushing 10 feet for the sake of it.
So the exact same thing as she
Yeah,
hits
we're
and
just-
like scrapes herself up. Eldritch Blast.
At this point, I'm starting to feel bad.
Yeah.
Up until this point, it's been funny, but now it's just like.
And Shay, for the
man,
first time,
okay.
as she is like Eldritch blasted around the corner, you watch as the teal glyphs around her, and she continues to fall towards you.
Perfect. When she gets in range, I'm using my attack against
Okay,
her.
that is Akka, Morwen, Shay, Heinrich. That goes to the top of the round. So she does fall. She's gonna fall 30 feet, which brings her right to your feet. So she falls prone in front of you.
Held my action, so
Just
that's
like-
3 hits.
So make those 3 hits first.
At advantage, right?
I'm punching.
Motion.
29.
21, yeah,
When
that
they
hits.
fall down the stars in Home Alone.
7.
And then there's
Okay.
the buckets.
Oh no.
22.
We're like the pipe.
22 hits.
On your turn,
For
can you
10?
throw her back up the stairs?
Huh?
See if
10?
she walks
Yep.
again?
29
Wait, yeah, that hits.
It's
for 9.
Shay just standing over, ready to
Okay.
punch.
So she falls, and as she hits her face on the ground and skids forwards, you kick her in the ribs. She kind of doubles over, and as you bend down, it's just 2 quick strikes, right into the ribs. She is bleeding everywhere. You can see like broken bones that she clearly like disfigured. I mean, she's fallen down. You can see areas that are burning away from these spider bites. The bites themselves actually beginning to fold in on themselves. She's in rough shape. That it's her turn. No, it's not. Sorry, that's her falling.
That was her turn.
She does fall prone. That is her movement. She does get an action. So at disadvantage. She
Are
lost
we
her
all
weapon.
at the bottom now?
No, you guys are up. You're about 30 feet up on the landing.
The last landing. In the corner.
Morwen is 30 feet up on the landing. Heinrich is 55 feet up, still seeing the last landing in front of him. You are right at the edge of the staircase that can see down to where Heinrich is. So you're probably about 30 feet from Heinrich.
So we got Shay at the bottom, Morwen up one, me up one more, and then
Basically,
Aka
yeah.
up one more. Okay.
Yeah. Morwen's a little closer than one, but it's basically that. So 2 attacks at disadvantage against you. They're unarmed strikes as she dropped her weapon somewhere. The first one is going to be a 22 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
It's gonna be 5 points of bludgeoning damage. As you like dig into her, you can see parts moving away. It's really just this kind of like flailing. It's barely hitting you. The second one, that's cocked, but doesn't matter because this is gonna hit. That is a 27
Yeah.
for 3 points of bludgeoning damage. As she's really just kind of striking you in the shin at this point. That is her turn. That brings us to Aka. You running 70 feet would be able to catch up to Heinrich and then just a little bit more. 30 feet will get you 10 feet behind Heinrich.
I'll go up 30 feet and be like,
How many seconds?
like 22?
No, so
21?
you were 6 off before. You're at 26 now.
26 now? Okay. 26. 26 seconds.
Okay.
25.
For
Sorry.
what it's worth, the timing on Enemies Abound is identical to
Okay.
that one. So they're both cycling at the same speed. Which means actually I should have checked off a 4th marker.
No
So
worries.
6 rounds left.
So that is your turn. You're just going to catch up and.
I guess continue walking down once Heinrich is walking down.
Okay. Yeah, I mean you can. So you're going to follow him.
Yeah, I'm not going to go past.
That brings us to you, Moron. You just
Making my way
continue
down.
following.
Same thing.
I got
Okay, 30 feet gets you down to
26
where she
seconds.
is. And she's now stopped at Shay's feet. And as you get to the bottom, you see the last punch from Shay as she like flails out of it.
Where's
Not to
Spider?
be, not to be mean to you, but Spider, yeah.
Where is Spider?
The spider is technically was with her because it's following her. So that would be between you and her.
Like at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah.
So if
it's
it's still
Shay.
in the way, then I'm
It's
not going
Shay,
to-
this dwarf, and then the spider. But because of where it is, you can go around the spider. I mean,
Oh.
there's room here.
Ooh, a wood opportunity though, because it has to.
Yes.
No, there's not enough clearance.
Just stay
Take
within
that.
its range.
Hmm?
Just stay in its range.
I guess that's true. And she's in the range. So
Yeah.
I guess I'll moose.
Okay, so as you run down, the spider strikes out at you, and you kind of use your momentum to slide under the legs. You pop up on the underside and strike out. Go ahead and roll your attack.
Are you
This
talking
is
Spider?
No, her.
this
Oh,
is
okay.
at advantage as she is prone.
Hey, double digits.
All right, so that. I
Sorry.
interrupt my math.
Your math. That's sorry.
It's 25.
25 hits. Go ahead and roll. That is a sneak attack. This is
Okay, that's okay. Oops, that was a 2. Okay, so that's
On the spider. Just take the car out. Insult to injury.
I'm going to do it like that.
so that is a 22.
22.
Which is
Walk it
kind
back
of
to
a
the
useful
boat.
one, but that's
Live
okay.
good.
Morwen, as you
26 seconds
strike
left.
this time, go ahead and tell us how it happens, because that is 2 points more than this person had. So
Alright, I catch up and I'm just like,
So Shay, after you do this last blow and she
so
strikes
fucking
out at
evil.
you,
Sorry,
you can
I'm
see
very
the wounds
anticlimactic.
folding in on themselves. And as she goes to hiss something at you, you just see Morwen skitter to a stop, just stab her, and she falls to the ground dead. And with that, there's only the spider left. So
Yeah.
currently it is the spider with Morwen on one side, Shay basically on the other. And just to make this a little easier for you guys, I don't have a battle map at the bottom of this, really, but so you have Shay right here, you have Morwen right here, and you have the corpse. This is the wrong guy, but whatever, makes sense. Corpse right here. Actually, Shay would be 5 forward. Okay. And that is where we are. So, the spider is the only one left. That was one attack. I believe you have your offhanded attack. Can you make it against a different target?
Yeah, because it's like a bonus second hand.
Yeah, so
I
if you
assume
want.
so,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Make your butts attack.
If you want.
Well, then it might attack me. That's okay.
I mean, it's gonna attack
I'll
either of
butts
you
it.
anyways.
I'll butts it. For 17.
17 just hits.
4.
So you slash out with butts and deal a mighty 4 points of damage.
It's better
Just
than
kind
the 3 with the natural 20.
Mostly, that's true. Mostly, you just see this whitish kind of albino fur just separate, but a little bit of blood with it. That is your turn.
Ooh, I actually still, now that I attacked it, I can actually move away from it with fancy footwork. So,
What is your speed?
30.
So that would be your movement to get there.
Oh, well,
Okay.
that
Fantastic.
answers that.
That brings us to Shay. Shay, you watch this happen. You watch this last Durgar just get stabbed, and then this spider kind of looking around now, a little bit frantic.
To start, it was the 3 hits against the spider.
Okay, yeah, roll your attacks.
23,
23 hits.
and it can make a Constitution saving throw.
Nope. 10. It's a pretty good con, too.
Oh, okay.
10 fails, and then 18.
Okay. He is
so it is
stunned.
stunned, and that is 6 points of damage.
Okay.
22
22 hits.
for 12.
Okay.
21
21 hits as well.
for 6.
Okay.
And flurry of blows. Why not?
Sure. Burn a key point. So you rush over to this thing, and as its rider is destroyed, you begin to just pound into it.
26.
26 hits.
6.
Okay.
27.
27 hits.
For max damage, 13.
15. Okay. So looking pretty hurt is the spider. It wasn't when you began. And then as it goes down, it kind of just takes one hit after the other. The third hit that you do, digging into something soft, you feel it just kind of inside.
Yeah.
And the legs almost reflexively up a little bit as it stuns. And you go into it again, hit it again and again. It's looking pretty rough.
Just gonna keep walking back in the direction we came.
Okay. You can see popping out of the submarine, maybe like 80 feet away, Valchrysix just kind of peering out.
Mr. B!
I'm gonna go get on the ship with him.
Okay, so you run very quickly with 80 feet, no problem. You get up to the submersible, long, kind of stretched out craft, segmented, kind of almost looks like a serpent under the water. He is in the upper hatch, and you would remember he said that there was only one seat on this place. There's a back door that you can kind of like undo and get into.
We'll do that.
Okay, so you wheel this thing out, and it's a little bit like stuck, but with you're a monk, no problem. You like wrench it open and pull out, and as it opens up, and there's this little hiss of air as it releases, it's basically just one stretched out cage, and you can see these segments would like move, so the cage itself is rigid, but kind of slides back and forth.
Sure.
You'd imagine this thing moves kind of like an eel through the water. But no problem. You drop down, fairly dark. There are benches on either side. With the 4 of you in there, it's going to be pretty cramped.
Shout up to him and be like, they're coming, get it started.
Okay, you see him nod, and he kind of sinks below as well. You hear as he just shuts the lid. That is your turn. That is going to bring it. So all of you, as you look down, the spider kind of like curled up a little bit. If you want, you can run by it. The only person who's going to have any amount of trouble, Akka, if you dash, you're going to end up 20 feet past it.
I'll fly.
Okay. What is your flying speed?
I think it's the same as my walking speed.
Okay, so you fly 20 feet past it. As you're walking down the stairs, you step off one step and then just
So
begin
that,
to
like,
fall.
I can just kind of like float over it, kind of like just a jump over
Okay.
it.
So as you get to the bottom, you just push off a little harder with your foot, and you float, and then moonwalk, land on the other side. Okay, 1 second here. So it's until the end of your next turn, Shay?
Correct.
So your turn comes, it ends. It's going to kind of crawl up.
I wanted to do something.
Sure.
I'm not running straight to the boat
Okay.
because I'm looting this body,
Okay.
and then I will run to the boat.
Make an investigation check.
I feel like I would.
Sorry, it's just I see the spider like still, and I'm like,
I feel like I would put it out of its misery on my turn too.
Okay, so we'll get to that in a second.
16.
16 misses. Are you rolling
No.
at advantage?
No,
It's
investigating. The
investigation. Right.
Loot.
Okay. With a 16.
body. I investigate the spider and I take off a leg, and I run and I'm just
What's
like,
this?
ah!
You just begin to go through its belongings, and the spider's like, excuse me? All right, so as you go through the belongings, the 17, there are a pair of hand axes, and as you look at them, the blade a little darker, looks as if it's been treated with some kind of poison. You can see just a regular set of studded leather armor, although sized for a Duragar. There are 3 relatively small skulls that are kind of, the hair is tied into the belt, so you can pull those out. There are 3 shrunken heads, not skulls, shrunken heads.
Ew, that's too far.
And then you would also
I don't
see,
take the shrunken heads. That's
Okay.
gross.
you would
Yeah,
also
it's
see,
skin.
there are 2, yeah, who would do that?
Disgusting.
There are 2 of those same vials
Gross,
that you
right,
found, or that Akka had found.
2 vials?
Yeah, 2 vials. Please put a little R next to them. That is pretty much all you would find, not carrying a ton on her.
Cool. I take the hand axes and the vials and I say, that's disgusting to the shrunken heads.
Okay.
And I run.
Okay, so you run over and get to this craft. Heinrich, go ahead and.
It's like, I'm moving beyond to get towards the
Sorry,
ship,
little
and at
guy.
the end of the distance, just like,
Okay. Let me see who goes first. Hang on. Here, Heinrich. So, yeah, you go first, no problem. As it's
Advantage?
still kind of shriveled up, yes, you absolutely get advantage on this.
well, it's a 19 to start, or
You just heard it more. That's really dark.
29 for a total of 11.
Okay, all you needed was 6. As you reach out this final Eldritch Blast, it hits it, and you kind of hear this. Kind of
Well, it's-
shrivels up.
Well, that's where the next one would have been 15 more damage and then 7 more damage.
Okay, and as it shrivels up and dies, another
into the
teal
sky.
blast stretches forwards and it hits the body. The body kind of shrivels a little bit more, but it's still just as dead.
Yeah, alright.
I'm
And
gonna
for
bonus
that-
action just be like, grab one of its legs.
No. No.
And for this, I will take you out of combat. So, well
We
done.
have like 18 seconds.
Yeah.
18 seconds.
Oh, wait. We don't have the eyeball for Miss Runeland anymore because it shriveled when it saw someone or something.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah, probably.
You'd remember it shriveled when Morwen had asked for something.
When it what?
When Morwen had asked for something,
Oh,
it
okay.
shriveled up.
Right. We tried to charm a question out of her.
Yeah. So, at the moment, are you guys all getting on board this thing? And
Hitting it.
okay.
Yeah, punch it.
So one by one, you all lower yourself into this thing, this
I'll cast
submersible.
light as I get in just so that we can see.
Does Valchrysix know how to operate it?
He said he has a rough idea.
Yeah, I don't
Alright,
think.
I want to take a look at this.
Okay, so going
Let
up
me
to the
get in.
top, you kind of pull at the door and it seems shut. There's this kind of thing to turn to open it, and as you try, it feels locked. You doing anything?
He's in there.
Knocking.
No, I don't want to talk to that. I want to talk to him right now. He's gonna be all.
I'll poke my head and be like, "This is your chance to prove yourself to him.
No.
If you can operate this, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I just don't want to leave it up to this guy.
That's also
So at this
part of
point,
why.
you realize that your spell, you feel it fade.
Kids, going.
Okay, well we gotta go because they're probably waking up now.
Come on in. I'm like at
Yeah,
the back
I'm just
door, just
gonna-
like sticking my head out,
Come
like,
in,
come on,
guys."
come on in,
Yeah, I'm
guys.
just gonna
Akka
get
just
in.
kind of climbs and then crawls back to the hatch and drops down. You pull it shut behind you.
Am I the last person in?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got light on one of
Okay.
the bracers or
So
whatever.
you shut it, and then all of a sudden, the light turns on from the bracers. You are in a very small space. There is. Give me 1 second. This whole craft in total is only about 18 feet long, about 8 feet wide at its widest, and that's including the various tanks that kind of come out at weird angles from this thing. It results in a pretty tiny cabin, and the space that you guys occupy is about 3 to 4 feet wide. And you guys on these almost like really, really thin benches, it would be impossible for you to sit facing each other. But staggering out, 2 of you can sit on either side. Suddenly, as you are within this space and the light kind of takes up, you see this little metal sliding door like a limo. Just there's iron mesh that goes across it and little dots that you can see through. But you do see the eyes of Alberon on the other side, kind of turning over his shoulder. All of you might want to hang on. And you see just shuts.
Will.
I'm doing so.
Okay.
I will.
Hold on to what?
I need
hold
the
on to
bars.
Heinrich.
There's bars, right?
Okay.
I'm using my 26 strength to hold on
Yeah, I
to
know
the
he's really
bars.
strong, so I feel fine holding on to
You hold on to the bars. Morwen holds
I
on
like
to
koala.
you. Shay, you hold on to the bars.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna hold
Sorry,
on to
Okay,
the
you hold on to
bars.
the bars. There is this throom, as you guys all suddenly lurch forwards and then down. You hear at the front this kind of weird sound, and then suddenly, and then you guys begin to move in earnest. I would get the sense that Morwen, you spend a lot of time at sea, and as this craft begins to move, it's moving probably a little bit faster than you could walk, but underneath the water. There are no windows in this space, although you can see little bits of when Valkrysix pulled the thing, you saw that there was like a viewport, although maybe about this wide. Very, very small. This begins to move, and as you guys go lower and lower, interestingly, within this cold water, it actually gets a little bit warmer as you go away from the top of Red River Run and down further into what you guys had heard called as the Darksalt Lake, this underground ocean, essentially. As you begin to get underway, is there anything that you guys are doing?
It doesn't really seem like much we could be doing in this space.
Yeah, what it
Pretty
like?
tight.
It's we're
Taking
just
a
pretty
short rest.
crammed
Yeah,
in
can
like
we take a short rest in this
You
space?
could
just kind of
certainly do
crammed
that.
in
So
like sardines,
Yeah.
right?
you
Yeah.
begin
Or
the
like some
process
sort
of taking a short rest.
Sardine-like fish.
Mm-hmm.
About 20 or so
Fish
minutes
and 10 bucks.
goes by, and suddenly this little window opens again. This time, Bill Krysix pulls aside this almost like mesh-like screen, leaving a space about this big. And you can see his face, and through it, you see this viewport. You see nothing. It is black outside. And every now and then, you just see like a little bubble kind of go by. The only indication that you're going anywhere.
You sure you know what you're doing there?
Yes, this is the easiest part of the journey. We just go until we hit something.
Hit? Can it take it?
I should hope.
Okay. Is he lying to me?
Make an insight check.
Does he know
I'm using
anything
some
about this? And
hit
is
dice
he
during this
secretly
short
keeping us
rest.
captive?
Is there a way to
an
steer
insight
it? Yeah.
Make an intelligence check as you kind of peer over his shoulders at the console.
Insight? Oh,
Yep.
not a great one.
And what were you doing, Morwen?
I'm doing some hit dice to
Okay.
while we're short
13.
resting.
What was
13?
mine? An intelligence check?
You haven't spent a lot of time around Dragonborn, and those that you did were really easy to read.
And also really short-lived. And
yes.
then turned into scale dust.
Yep. Yeah. So you met one with Shatter Scale, and he was very short-lived.
Yeah.
However, this is the first Dragonborn that really you've noticed A has a sense of humor, and B,
Sense of pride that's balanced.
yeah, and kind of hard to read, and because it's kind of hard to tell whether he's joking or not.
Well, right. I mean, I took it as a joke at first when he was saying that we should let out a dragon and let it take over the world, and we would be subjugated to a better form of organized life than freedom.
That's my mouse. It just disconnected. Okay.
Anyways, yeah. That story of opening up the binder was a little scary for me, so I think I'm just kind of like really suspicious of this guy now.
Fair
but
enough.
if I don't know him, whatever. What do I know from that? Is that
Intelligence
it?
check?
Just don't know?
That's really all you would get, yeah.
15.
15. So looking over, there are a few things that you do notice about this. The first thing that immediately catches your attention and almost pulls it away, you don't really notice anything but this for this. There is a weird device that you have not seen outside of drawings and sketches. It's a theory, as far as you know. But it has been called an electrolysis drive. It's something that can turn the momentum of the water into electricity and air. And so as long as this craft can move, you would imagine it can generate both oxygen and power. You've never seen this actually created. It's a theory. But It is no more than 15 feet in front of you and spinning madly underneath as it seems to power and propel this thing forward. It's encased in this kind of glass dome in the center of this console. The console's about 3 feet wide. There's a couple other levers, and you would imagine there is something to rise and to fall. There is a wheel, and kind of like a half wheel that is yoked into the ground and would move kind of like an aircraft. Matt would know. But currently, this thing is all the way pressed forward, so it is sinking. And you do see the bubbles kind of going up and kind of away from the window, so certainly headed down.
Where are you taking us?
The bottom.
I look over like
Bottom of. Look, I know we're trying to get out of here, but that sounds like further from out.
None of you have been in the Darksalt Ocean before. It is a dangerous place. And though you can go through the open water, there are large things that lurk down here. Things that I would not like to encounter, especially as I don't know exactly how to pilot this. It can probably take a blow to the ground. We'll have two options from there. Like all things, one is faster but more dangerous, and one a little bit slower and slightly less dangerous. But we are coming upon something that is called... Give me 1 second here. I wasn't prepared because my notes are on my phone.
Oh.
Day one. The first place that we can go is the bottom of an underwater canyon. There are creatures that lurk within the caves there. It is all limestone. It was once a coral reef of sorts, when there was still an opening to the sky. Now just bleached and dead. Well, relatively speaking. Above it there is a very rapid current that moves through Darksalt. It can get you a little bit closer to where I'm trying to go, but it will highlight us with the bioluminescent algae that flows through it. There are also massive jellyfish that prey upon things, but easy to spot and easy enough to avoid. The biggest threat comes from that which lurks without. As we are highlighted within this current, the larger creatures will be able to see us across a much greater distance. But we could cut 2 days off this 4-day journey.
4 days like this?
4-day journey where?
Oh.
You said 4-day journey where?
Yeah.
My intent is to get to Camper's Notch. Have you heard of it?
Have I heard of it?
Make a history check. Shay, you've heard of Camper's Notch, as it is within the north. Okay. Camper's Notch is a small grotto in the Shu Delta, which is a little bit north of Port Quinn. Kind of right on the edge of where you've been to a couple of times, and then in any caravan, you would have passed through the Shu Delta, although a little bit to the east. Sure. Camper's Notch is a small grotto. You don't know why it's called that? That's really all you know about it. You don't really know where it is. Kind of a rough idea.
I don't know shit.
That'll do.
From there, you can go where you would like. We can reach the surface easy enough, and I have my own business to attend to. I do appreciate the freedom, though.
We appreciate the assistance on the breaker. Okay. I'm feeling safer and longer. I have patience. After all of that, I don't want to be in this position while something large and underwater attacks us.
He leans in a little bit, and you can see like the snout of this dragonborn passing into the cell that you guys are within. Look, friend to friend, you did help me out quite a bit, and so I'm going to give you a free bit of advice. That thing that I fixed for you, you don't possess it. And you should make sure that everybody knows you don't possess it.
Like kind of a nod of like, okay. I don't know what he's intimating.
He kind of draws back a little bit, and right as he's about to turn it, he kind of looks at your face, reads the confusion.
It's like,
There are those that I work with who would gladly kill you and take that.
Okay. Well, I'll continue to hide it, I guess. Can we trust that with this freedom that we gave you, you would not mention it again?
He looks at you with one eye, his head turned all the way to the side, kind of like this sideways look. Make an insight check. So as he looks sideways and you look back, you can sense that he's almost waiting for you to look away, but you hold the gaze. He nods a little bit, almost like approval. And he says, for the moment, I think it's safe enough in your hands, and I imagine I could find you should I need it. But that is not my goal. My goal is to prevent those from being built again.
Just silent nod.
Okay? Anybody else saying anything at this moment?
No, I'm just heavily eavesdropping, but pretending
Okay.
like I'm not, but it's pretty obvious because there's only 4 people
In
it's
a
very
tiny
packed
space.
Well, if there's nothing else, we'll be at the ground in about 20 minutes. I would brace for... Can everybody make a strength saving throw, please?
Yeah.
Because you were looking, Akka, suddenly, at this moment, you see the ground into view about 10 feet in front of you.
Oh, I'm gonna reach to try and pull it up to soften the blow.
Pull what up?
Your arms, both arms could not reach through this opening.
Okay.
And it's like, it would be
Okay.
impossible. You know what? You have the telekinetic shove. You could try to telekinetically shove that thing.
I'm gonna try to telekinetically
Go
shove
ahead and make
it
a flat intelligence
Yank.
check.
Can we call it yank and shove when you push and pull? Because shoving towards you seems so awkward. I'm
Um,
gonna shove it.
that's a 14. I'm gonna flash of genius it to make it a 19.
Okay. That's a good idea.
I got a dirty 20 for the save anyway.
You reach forwards
I
and you
got
can see
17.
Valchrysis kind of pulls
That's not
back a
bad for
little
me.
bit, but right as he pulls back, you telekinetically yank on the yoke of this thing. As it goes down, it kind of evens out, and you... Everybody make a strength saving throw at advantage.
Okay, so plus. Better the
Oh, I
first
rolled
time.
the same. 17.
Better the
Nice,
first time.
still good.
Take a 20.
11.
Okay, Shay?
22.
All of you hold tight as Akka right into the front of the thing. You see the Dragonborn pull back as he is like, actually, just make a strength saving throw too. Nope, you see the Dragonborn propelled back as he hits the wall pretty hard. Akka, you take 1 point of bludgeoning damage, as does he, as you hit this wall, kind of bouncing out. Most of your pride's hurt. This thing along the bottom. And then suddenly, right off, and you feel the floating. Valchrysis pulls himself up as he's kind of sideways in his seat. You hear him crack his neck.
You alright, Mr. B?
It begins with a V.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm fine.
Cool.
How about the rest of you? Any broken bones?
I'm just gonna thumbs up while still holding firmly.
Fantastic.
Me too,
So,
while still holding on to Heinrich firmly.
Heinrich, as you are firmly held,
And holding firm.
he turns around now, both hands kind of on the edge of this thing, and he looks in. So, I'm curious. Who amongst you would be able to influence things outside of this craft while we are underneath?
Probably me.
Just look over and kind of like nod at, the one that he's been dismissing this whole time. At Akka.
You see he closes his eyes, the black scales shutting over these almost like red eyes, and he sighs. Elf, do you think you could pilot this craft?
Probably better than you.
Do you say that?
Yeah.
We were just trying to warm up to this dude who wants to enslave all the other races.
He nods. Very well. The door shuts, and you feel this thing and then begin to move a little bit.
Well,
Anybody doing anything? About 20 minutes going to pass over the course of this particular side journey.
4-day side journey. I'll just get as comfortable as I can. Be like, well, I'm a little uncomfortable and a little tired.
You try to like cross your arms, and Morwen's just circling you.
I'll just
I'll let loose. I'll let go. If it's feeling steady, I'll let go.
Okay.
In all fairness, I think I'm probably pretty comfortable.
Probably,
I'm
yeah.
probably perched in a
curl
tiny
up.
little corner. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
fine.
It's a too small box that you have found, and you would need to sit in it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass out.
So you
Try to
short
get
rest
sleep,
real
too.
hard.
Yeah.
Everybody
Short rest.
over the course of this is going to be able to mark off a short rest, so please
Okay.
do so if you would like. Use hit dice if you would like. Mark off the appropriate spell recoveries.
Keep the spell or keep the
Shay.
dice.
For you, this is very difficult. You
The
are
opposite is-
as far from the sky as you could be. And given your background, your yearning to be in the air. This is a time that is very difficult for you, and as time progresses, you would imagine increasingly so. Akka, after about 20 minutes of that exchange, you feel the craft lurch up for a moment, and then you feel it connect with something, but you feel it connect with something with purpose. Above, suddenly, you hear this, and then, as this hatch is lifted, there is a small amount of air in this very corroded iron tunnel. Little drops dripping in from the top. There are puddles on this thing. It looks vaguely like the craft that you are in, although inverted. You see Valchrysix's head poke over. Come on then, elf. It's your turn.
Alright, I guess I'm going in.
Okay.
Good luck. I tap you and don't give you guidance because I can't.
Oh, no guidance.
I would, but.
So,
I think I can guidance myself.
you climbing up?
Yeah, that's true.
Climbing up?
Yeah, I am.
So you climb into this craft, and as you pull yourself in, there's this moment of disorientation. It's as if it's the same craft that you were in, just stretched out, the ceiling a little bit taller, like almost twice as tall. And there are, now that you look at it, larger windows, although covered in like maybe mud or dirt. You see no water outside. You do see up on the ceiling a seat, and then hanging from it a skeleton of a dwarf. You can see there are kind of like webs of cracks within the window that are plugged by this mud. You can also see there is like a little silver rectangle, similar in ways to an arcana tile, lodged into the ceiling, kind of right at your feet when you get up to the top. And looking down at it, and that's kind of all that you see, but maybe 10 feet over you see another hatch open, and you would imagine down there you could enter the cockpit of this craft.
Alright, I guess I'm going into the cockpit.
Okay. And drop down into this thing. There's a number of controls, but you have a rough idea as to how this works. You've already figured out how to go up and down. Make an intelligence check.
Yeah, can I try to like get a better lay of the land of this particular craft now that I'm in the driver's seat?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's cramped for you. This is size for a Duragar. Or sorry, for a dwarf.
That's an 18.
An 18?
Yeah.
So you kind of sit in, and now that you have everything in front of you, you can see something that measures kind of how deep you are. You see this strange, so it's like a glass dome, and within it there is like a diamond-shaped light that seems to float within, almost like this bit of plasma held in stasis. You haven't seen anything like it. And as this craft gently kind of turns in the water, that little point seems to turn as well. It seems almost like a compass, although unclear as to if it points north or not.
If it points in the direction of the ship, this shuttle maybe.
Who knows?
Okay.
You would also see that there's a lever to make it go up and down. There's this kind of thing to turn left and right. There are a number of other buttons that you imagine are not essential to this craft, but will do something. Those are located off to the side, and so not where you would imagine immediately in front of you.
None of them say anything.
No.
Alrighty.
So very, very important of note, there is not a single stitch of writing or runic things on here. Almost as if this craft was designed by a very secretive group that attempts to not have people involved in their business.
Okay. Well, I guess we're going down?
I just turned to Valchrysix. I'm like, is there any guidance that you could give our new navigator?
So when you disconnect from this, and you would like to, and he kind of gestures past you, and you see on the side, he points to one of the buttons. Once we've closed the hatches, press that to release us. We'll drop maybe 25 feet, and the bottom is there. And where you wish to go is your business. I would recommend sticking to the bottom. It's easy to track where we're going, and there are fewer dangers, but up to you.
I'm gonna like look at Heinrich and be like,
I'm just kind of casually leaning back and like, yeah, what's up with the message?
like, where are we taking this guy?
Honestly, what was it called? Hunter's
Camper's Notch.
Camper's Notch?
Yep, Camper's Notch.
Yeah, Camper's Notch sounds fine. It's close to where we know.
Alright, I guess, yeah.
You mean to hold him prisoner?
Well, I mean, the Grey Lady wanted him, right?
Not part of the contract.
Was it implied part of the contract? She wanted him alive, right?
She preferred that, yes, but it wasn't part of the contract, and it wasn't necessarily implied that it was part of it. It would be nice.
It was a bonus.
Yeah.
But also, we don't want anyone using that Cold Forge who has maybe negative ulterior motives.
Like
Either
the
way,
Grey Lady.
I'll be like, I'll keep talking with you. I'll keep this line open.
I'm gonna just be like, press the. Well, I'm gonna wait until they shut the hatches.
So
and
you
then-
shut yours.
Yeah.
You guys all kind of pull this
Yeah.
one down. Valkrysix reaches on top of and just
Yeah. So how did you know to get us here?
this bathysphere has been here for some time. This is something that we passed on our way, and we used it as a sort of stopping point.
Is there another one further down?
Not immediately in our path, but there are a few things that we might be able to stop near. Stopping underneath is dangerous. We will run out of air and power the longer that we stay still. This is something called an electrolysis drive. It works. He looks at you.
I
It's
just stop him like, don't bother.
It's a complicated device.
I gesture around to it.
The
While I
fast-
bang my hand against something.
The more that we move, the easier it will be for us to breathe.
Perfect.
Speaking of which, we've been still for some time, so
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to start moving.
okay.
I guess.
Any
Press-
guidance you could provide us would be great.
You press the button, and all of you hear this, and you begin to, and you see through the viewport, the mud kind of slide away from the bathysphere, directly outside. You can kind of see the edge of the glass from it on your view thing. And as you pull away, just this muddy bit of water kind of stretches between you. And as you fall a little bit, you can see, make a perception check. This is kind of a dark place.
That is a. Not very good. There's a 6.
What you got?
13.
13. So you see Akka as this thing begins to fall down. Akka kind of clambers over and begins to try to look out the viewport. And as you're doing this, the craft hits the ground, and Akka, you kind of plunk your head into the front.
Trying to keep it
But you
level.
kind of pull it back and pull it up level. And in this moment, as you do, you kind of squint through the darkness. You see a lot of dark water. There might be some kind of a light source a little bit off into the east of this craft, but kind of hard to tell.
Should I go for that light?
Valkrysix is going to kind of call out the purple one.
Is it purple?
Real hard to see.
Maybe.
Maybe get a little closer if it's purple. Is that good or bad if it's purple?
If it's purple, that is the current express. That's the way that we could go much quicker. But the purple is the algae that blooms and has a sort of bioluminescence to it.
Can
Or it could be one of the jellyfish that is recently eaten. That would also glow.
stay near, but don't get too close to it. Let's follow it at a distance.
Yes. Pretty much as long as it's not a Goliath, butterfly boilerfish will be just fine.
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna go forward, I guess.
Okay, so you lean forwards experimentally and you hear this zhuzh, and you begin to kind of push forwards. Little bits of dirt and like rocks every now and then, ting, ting, away from the glass. But largely, you're kind of going through clear water with this grayish stone, uneven but underneath you. You continue for just a little bit. Give me 1 second here. My notes are all out of order. So, give me 1 second here. Okay, here we go. As you go forwards, you begin to see now, almost like the salinity in the water is a little bit different, a little bit clearer. You are able to see a little bit further, and as you progress forwards, further still. and suddenly you kind of into this slightly clearer water. You can't look behind you, and so no idea why it's clear, but in front of you suddenly you can see these large, almost spires of limestone. You see very porous and probably at one point like coral, but now just kind of withered away with the passage of the currents. There are dark caves off to the side, and you realize you're in maybe like a 20-foot wide underwater canyon. And now and then as you pass, there are just these dark areas of just stretched shadow, and impossible to tell what's beyond or how far it goes. But you continue down. For what it's worth, you do see Valkrysix trying to peer at these caverns as you go, but very hard for him to see. As you progress, just making sure that none of the denizens of the cave are interested in us. If you could do us all a favor and not rub against it, it would be great. Thank you.
And just keep moving.
Okay. Slowly, the glow increases, and now you can see bits of purple. And as you go across another like 10 minutes, it becomes clearer and clearer, and it becomes like this point, and then you realize it stretches far, far out beyond you. And as you turn and you actually pull the yoke up so the craft tilts, you can see it above you as well. It is this current, this almost circular stream of tiny, tiny motes of purple light that blink in and out of existence and seem to swirl. Some of them kind of cast off to the side and into the dark water, but most of them just sucked into this current and continuing along. And you see it stretches about 120 feet and then out of your sight further and further and further. And it seems to almost follow this canyon.
Maybe don't go in it, but kind of keep it as a guide.
Yeah, I guess I'll follow the current, but like underneath it, so I'm not getting caught up in it.
Okay.
We're drawing attention.
Yeah, staying low.
So at this point, Valkrysix kind of just like sits down on the bench, kind of tucking his knees in because this space is very small for him. But he sinks in and looks around. The canyon will be about 2 days, so if you have any hobbies or things that you could do, now is a good time to get involved.
The Elvish book comes out.
Long rest.
So
I wake up
check out
from
the
my
book.
short rest for a second. I'm like,
I pop 2 acorns
I go
into
back
my
to
ears. And just start like tapping and humming like I'm listening to something.
Fantastic. So as you listen to your headcorns,
Yeah.
you can mark off. So it is 2 days is this stretch of travel.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, they go by relatively unremarkably. You do need to take your 4 hours of meditation or trance, but because of the feature, you can still stay aware of what's happening.
And stay just kind of asleep at the
And I'm
wheel.
also paying attention too, so I can like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so every
This
now
is
and
a
then,
real test of my
It's
like. This is a real test of my inability to sleep. Is like, or rather, really good use, or the longest time where like I have literally nothing to do,
yeah.
and I'm just like, wow, I'm really awake for this long all the time, aren't I?
boring.
And
Not much,
time
dude.
doesn't really feel like it's passing. There's no light cycle to change. The
I got a
hours
lot of good
creep
Elvish in.
by. Yeah.
I got a lot
So-
of good Elvish in.
If you want, I mean, you can mark off 36 hours Elvish. If you
Yeah,
really
that almost
want.
doubles. I'm at 53 and a half.
Yeah.
Am I fluent yet?
No. Although, I mean,
36?
so you would imagine
That's me at 89.
so you're at 89?
89 hours. If I do 36.
You are very close to fluency.
I feel like I'd be annoying everyone at every like 5 minutes, just like practicing a phrase.
Yeah, and for anybody who speaks Elvish, it's this like fairly well spoken, although every now and then like a word just a little wrong.
I'm
Also
gonna correct them.
nonsensical.
Okay, you correct him as best you can.
I try to time it so Morwen's sleeping when I do the ones that I'm self-conscious about.
And I'm also just
I'm just
gonna
like,
dream talk in Elvish.
they
a little,
both
and I'm
sound
swearing.
awful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, neither of them speaks very good Elvish.
Yeah.
I don't.
You speak
I
okay
feel like I
Elvish.
kind of inherited.
Sorta. I mean, you are tangentially.
Without practice though too.
Yeah, it's not the best, but you understand it. You can make yourself known. You can't read it because you can read words. You're learning. So two days go by. You learn a lot of Elvish. Akka, what are you doing? Just steering and trancing?
Yeah, I guess maybe like doodling some of the stuff I see out of the muckies.
Okay. So as you go through this, you see these large kind of things of limestone. You see the purple. Make a perception check as you're kind of doing this over the next 2 days.
Ooh, that's yeah, it's an 18 plus is it 25?
Okay, roll a d100 for me, please.
Oh boy. Try out these. This new. 25?
25. Relatively unremarkable, this journey. You do see here and there interesting shapes of rock where they curve and have these like almost hollowed out bits. There are 2 or 3 times where you come by just bashed bits of coral. The most interesting thing that you see as you're kind of going, and towards the end of this day, you're the top of one of these long kind of towers. There is an area that's like burnt. Even here under the water, it looks like it's been charred. And as you go by, little bits of it fleck away, and it's very, very badly damaged. But you continue on your way, no problem. As the end of the second day kind of comes by, you can see this canyon begin to transition. The floor so even, all of a sudden you look down, you can't see, and you realize it's been slowly kind of dropping. And as you push this craft down, or are you're going to continue to follow the ground?
Yeah.
Okay. It transitions down slowly at first, but you feel the incline grow steeper and steeper, and you go further and further, and this once coral-like shelf seems like it might have been the edge of a reef. This reef, as you go down and down, you look at this little meter, you are 100 feet further down, 200 feet further down.
We're off of the reef now.
This reef is still, you're still following the edge of it, but it's been like this, and it's slowly kind of curving down. About 400 feet into it, you reach a space where suddenly the bottom looms up, still about 100 feet beneath you. Here, the water is fairly clear, and so from little motes of something that seems to be glowing a faint blue, almost like these little orbs at the bottom, you can see little bits and pieces of things. And as this kind of appears, you can see Velchrysix suddenly opens his eyes and kind of peers down through. This is the Eumfield. Akka. This is a place that I think you need to be especially careful. There are worms that inhabit these places. By themselves, not terribly dangerous, but they tend to gather in groups, and they can chew through metal. As you go down towards this field, you can see closer and closer, about 50 feet off the ground. The texture is different. It's not gray stone. It's this mottled kind of white and brown, almost like little...
Pull up.
Okay.
Stay a little higher up from the ground so
Okay.
that nothing can shoot out from
You
under
kind of
us.
pull up, and as you see this, it kind of fades again to be a little bit more blurry. So you're standing about 50 feet above. Is anybody else looking? They're trying to get a view through this?
I feel like I would.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Oh, 21.
For a brief moment, as Akka kind of
20.
is bobbing down and sees the bottom and then kind of pulls it back up, you also see the bottom. Stretching out beneath you are not stones, but there are hundreds, if not thousands, of bones mixed into this kind of coral that comes up.
Huh.
Old, many of them kind of decaying, in fact, but you see large elements that may have belonged to creatures like whales. You see some that's certainly humanoid in nature. A variety of different ages. And with a 21,
Just
you
20
see
flat, if that matters.
a 20? It does. That is all you see.
Okay.
Man, okay.
Yeah, I mean, math.
Yeah.
I'd advise, being careful. Looks like a graveyard down there.
Yeah, I saw it.
Well, this is
Okay.
the lowest point of the Darksalt Ocean, so naturally sediment settles.
Well, true.
So,
I'm gonna keep continuing.
No, you said the worms that chew through the water.
So,
Yeah, let's be careful. I mean, I don't really know how...
there is a point where we'll need to get closer. This does come to a point where there is about... You might be able to stay 20 feet off the ground, but it narrows.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'll just keep going then.
You go, and sure enough, another
We're
30.
going slow, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a question.
Sure.
Find familiar.
Okay.
It lists some.
Components?
Well, no, I mean, I don't have the razor. And I only have, so I have non-dismissed, and I can't change its form when I bring it back. I have to recast it to change its form.
Correct.
Never mind, that's
What
okay.
about the lobster? Bring
Well-
back the lobster.
That wasn't me.
The lobster.
That was fucking.
Caleb.
That was Caleb's
Caleb.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before this was a stranger,
Electai.
we had two other characters, Electai and Ariadne, who have both been in this campaign
Yeah.
since.
Yeah, Electai's lobster. No, I was gonna see if I could just basically create like some sort of fish that could be naturally perceptive outside the ship, but
It's a great idea.
Can't-
Unfortunately,
don't have a brass
I
brazier.
don't know.
I do have time to do it. I just that's the only.
you do have a
I gave it back though.
Oh, that's right. You did give it
Yeah,
back.
I was
Right.
polite.
Fair enough. You did.
I need some sort of brazier, metal brazier to like perform this.
A large
Yeah.
metal bowl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, basically to like incense
think
and
I
all that
have
shit.
that.
Relatively speaking, it just needs to be a large container. It doesn't necessarily need to be metal,
Okay.
but it it needs to be roughly the same value. It
Right.
can't just be like a big hollowed out coconut.
Yeah. I do have the herbs. I do have the charcoal and incense. I don't have the brazier for it,
Yeah.
so whatever.
I'll look through what I have. What about if I emptied out these eyes?
The jar of eyes.
It's just a jar. I don't think. No.
You see Velchrysix watch you as you kind of go through your pack, and he kind of looks. What are you looking for?
Like a metal bowl, like a solid, well-built metal bowl. I thought I had one as I'm just like rifling through, sticking my head way too far into the bag.
If you have some kind of spare metal, I can make one for you. Easy
just
enough.
kind of like look around like these bars,
Very well.
the cage. I can help disassemble it.
He kind of looks up at one of the
As
bars.
long as it's
And
not, load bearing.
you see the long nail kind of is coming out like almost like a talon from this dragonborn, and he traces it around, and you hear this kind of as he kind of goes around it. But as he does, little sparks flick off and separates the bar. Kind of gestures for you to hold it. Goes over to the other end, same thing, and the bar comes away. He begins to trace these symbols with these nails, and as he does, almost fire-like
I'll watch
writing
him.
comes across. You immediately see, very similar to your armor, these beautiful calligraphy-like glyphs that are used in a certain kind of artificing.
Trying to memorize it.
While he's doing that,
Make an
I'm watching
intelligence
out the
check.
window. So he's driving and watching. I'm watching while he's driving.
Okay.
Ah!
What is that?
Damn. It's
More proof that he's right about it.
7.
Okay.
7. It's difficult because his glyphs significantly more advanced than the ones that you know. When you power up your armor, these things off and kind of become these spells. For him, as he traces them, they continue to move. So these things kind of move and squirm, and you can see they seem to almost have power under their own abilities to kind of move around. But as this spell takes effect, this metal bar shrinks and kind of compacts in on itself, and then becomes like a bowl-like dimple. And he kind of holds it out to you.
Thank you. Thank you. This is going to make all of our lives a little less, well, make me a little less paranoid. And I'm just going to like sit down and set at the ritual casting of Find Familiar.
Okay, he sees you put the incense down, and he goes, "You're not going to light that on fire, are you?"
I will have to.
Well, we're in a sealed environment with
Yeah,
oxygen.
what?
So I would recommend not.
Next break, we can do this.
What?
Is there a next stopping point?
The next break is when we get up for air.
Well, give me a second here. If we had taken the current, there are a few places we could have stopped. We are at open water at that point, and so our options are a little bit wider. But another day ahead, there is a sort of cave that we could duck into. It is frequently inhabited by a relatively malevolent kind of creature, these worms that I spoke of. Not always, not even most of the time, but frequently enough that I would advise caution. There is only 2 days left in this trip.
Then,
So,
thanks for the bowl. just put it away.
Okay.
Now I can do this in the future.
Exactly.
I got something out of it. Like,
So-
yeah, good call.
Ah.
I didn't.
You continue.
Just gonna pull my book back up, the Elvish, and just gonna hold it in front of my face.
The ceiling kind of curves down, and all of a sudden there's like a 25-foot, not a tunnel, it's ocean, but it seems to be underneath this. It's almost like a huge stone with no real sides to it, and there is just kind of ocean between. It is a very narrow space. The craft, though only about 10 feet high, takes up half of it. As you go, you can see now the bottom has these long, tubular kind of, almost like coral. They do look vaguely alive. Dull brown, almost tinged with bits of purple at the edges. And you can see every now and then the edges of it kind of closes a little bit and then opens, and you see like a spurt of water. These things don't seem to react to you as you go by.
I'm gonna try not to touch anything with
Okay.
this ship.
Go ahead and roll a D100 as you progress down the third day of your journey.
70?
Which one? 70?
Yeah.
Okay. As you continue, you get to a point where these kind of tubular bits of coral gather around these fissures. And at first, there wasn't a whole lot of light, but from the fissures, you see little bits of kind of like a dull glowing red and bubbles rising from it. They seem maybe like thermal fissures. And suddenly, this cluster around it, as you're kind of like passing by, you see the bubbles begin to drift off of one of the
try
tubes.
to move so
And
that
then
we're
another-
not under or above it.
I'm going to say,
If
okay.
it's- If it looks like it's boiling up, I'm getting us out of.
Are you?
the
You're. I know that
line
you're
of
not
it.
proficient in this craft because I invented it. So I'm going to. I'm going to guess that you do not have steam-powered submersibles.
I don't have steam-powered submersibles.
That
So-
would have been a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
Character
Make
creation.
make
I
a
just randomly decided to waste
make
us
a-
on this.
make a dexterity check.
Okay. Have I long rested?
Yes.
Okay.
So anybody who would like to can mark off a long rest.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
just, well,
for
all
sure.
I was going to say is I'm going to start drinking.
Okay. Yeah. So you pull out the bottle and
Because I'm bored as hell.
yeah, you start drinking. Great place
alright.
to drink.
Dex check. That's 19.
Okay. So as you
What's the
see
long rest,
these,
everyone, don't forget about your free hit points.
Yep, 12, right?
It was short too. 12 for you guys, 19 for me.
you see the
Oh.
bubbles from these tubes of coral begin to become more and more, and suddenly all of them at the same time open, and this big of air, like a huge bubble of air, rises up just to the right of you. The craft is actually pushed slightly to the side. You see it go up, and then the water back, and there's a flash of light as the water underneath crashes back together. You'd imagine fairly dangerous in this space, but also as you kind of continue, the craft shaking slightly, you recognize that if there was open water above you, you could probably use one of these, A, to breathe, but B, to travel very quickly up. You see the tubes here and there now as you pass, and this huge bubble, seemingly at random, kind of just will come up. But you do have a little bit of a warning.
Okay.
You continue to progress. Another 200 or so feet pass, and you see one of these little tubular bits now releasing almost like a stream of smoke. It looks like smoke underwater, like gray water being released. And as you continue to progress, more and more of these are releasing smoke, like large colonies of these cylindrical. You're recognizing now almost like mussels, not even coral. As you progress with a 70, here and there in these little tubes, you see the edges of these sharp little pincers. And as you get close, they back inside, and they seem hesitant to come out. But as this happens, you do see Valkreisix point and say, those are what you need to steer clear of. You
I
continue.
do so.
Yeah, you continue. Now, every now and then, in front of the screen, suddenly hitting the front of the window are these tiny little shrimp, almost translucent. You barely see them as they go by, but a couple of them now, more and more. And some of them are actually a little bit colorful as you begin to get even further, little bits of red in them. Here and there, you do notice where there should be big tubes of coral, there are areas in the ground dug about 6 feet in. Your craft will go and go and go, and suddenly there'll just be a hole. And as you pass over without any light sources, just shadows beneath. You kind of steer around it, I would assume.
Yeah.
Kind of continue, but you're seeing a few of them here and there.
Something big, probably. I'm wondering, like, what would have created something like that.
Make a nature check.
6.
No idea. Not a clue.
Juice.
You say that?
No, get out of it. Get out of there.
Okay, so you continue forward. And as you drift along, go ahead and roll a D100. As another day passes. For those of you who would like to make a long rest, you can certainly do that.
I got pretty drunk at the end of the night, so
How many more
the
hours
wax
of
bag is on the head.
So as you all wake from your long rest, there's a wax-bagged Morwen.
45.
45. Okay. A little bit of time goes by. I'm going to say most of the people asleep because I think you would probably wait for that. But there is a moment where Valkreisix quietly kind of calls out to you, Akka. Elf,
Yes.
you claim to know something of artificing.
Yes.
How is this possible? At this point, he like turns fully in the seat and kind of looking at you through this little view hole.
Process of learning.
Did you find a book? Were you taught by an instructor?
A little bit of both.
Interesting. Who taught you?
I taught him everything he knows.
He kind of starts for a second and looks down. You take the bag
Oh,
and the eye holes just into view.
I gotta
man, it's been a long
remember.
time. What is it? Oh,
I gotta look up the name. I forget the name.
Please don't throw up.
Wait, what was Caleb's?
Electrolysis.
It was. Okay, yeah. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Swallowed it. Okay.
So you see Akka, he looks up at you and just kind of says, we'll finish this later. And he slides down the bench.
I was
over
like
from
starting to lean in,
Morwen.
and then that happened. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Slides to the other end of the bench from Morwen.
Yeah.
Come over here, Mr. B. It's all about you. Enough about me.
Are you saying that?
Yeah.
Make a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Panache. Drunk panache.
Okay, yeah, you if you want, you can.
Spill your secrets, bro. So let's see, that cancels out to a 10. Can't roll below 10 on that. So it's a 25. Wait, what is it? Persuasion?
Yeah.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. He looks down at you and just... You won't remember anyways.
Yeah, so why not tell me? Come on, man.
Kind of looks around at everybody. None of this really concerns any of you, but I come from Ganon.
Ah, same.
His eyes narrow.
He didn't
That
say
would make
Dungannon.
sense.
I don't know. I don't care.
There are many tabaxi in Ganon, or there were.
Oh, what?
Are Ganon and Dungannon the same?
Make a history check. No, you would know that.
But-
Derivative of.
Yeah. Is he talking about what is now Dungannon from a different time? History. That's a 23.
Okay,
That's
so
not good.
Dun in Dwarvish
It's
means
dark.
stone.
Yeah, stone. Stone Ganon.
Ganon is not a Dwarvish word. Does anybody speak Draconic?
I do.
Okay.
Oh,
So
Oh,
you-
well.
Whoa, we're on it finally, yeah.
So Ganon is home.
Stonehome.
Yes. And I would say you probably don't really know why that is, but you also do know there's a town called Dun in the Valley of Tranquility, just a little bit, very far south of you now. But I come from Ganon. It is something of a hellscape now, but there was a time when it was quite beautiful. And though I do understand and he looks over kind of mostly at you, distrust of my kind, not all dragons are the way that those of you in Dominion tend to paint them. You know very little of monsters, all of you. You lived in a place where they've slept for almost 200 years. And while they did that in Dominion, the rest of the world was not so lucky. We needed protection, and there were dragons there for us. It kind of turns back to you, Morwen. I am a member of something called the Pledge. This means nothing to you, and it probably will continue to mean nothing to you. But destroying the Cold Forge and other sites like it is the reason that I'm here.
Wow. That's crazy.
Isn't it? So, he kind of just takes the bag out of your head and turns it so the eyes are like now off on the side.
Oh shit.
Where'd you go?
Good night.
He kind of turns to you,
Definitely
Heinrich,
noted that.
because
I
you're
mean-
you're paying attention. So he
Yeah.
turns to you. Initially, I went to Stoneflow for the Pledge. To there's another site kind of similar to the Cold Forge there. It is something that is called the Balefire Connector, located deep beneath the ground, very similar to what occurred to create the Cold Forge.
I'm gonna pull out the Elemental Deluge book.
Yeah, that's
Just
mentioned in there.
correspond it,
Yep.
'cause I remember that.
So the Balefire Connector is listed as a point during the Elemental Deluge that was damaged and connected to the plane of fire.
Okay. Similar to the crossing over of fire and ice for
Yes.
Cold Forge.
From what you know, it is fire and water here. And so,
right, water, not
yeah.
ice, yeah. Okay, and that was just pure fire.
So my goal was to destroy their version of the Cold Forge. Unfortunately, they are very perceptive, the Stoneflow dwarves, and quite secretive. They did catch me and others with me. And that is how I ended up here.
So
They
they're
have-
aware of this play. We'll point backwards to the end of the ship, gesturing towards Cold Forge. Area.
There seems to be an agreement of sorts between the two, yes.
Huh. So this lost place isn't so lost after all.
It would seem not.
I do that.
Okay. He kind of
Sort of
nods. Imagine my surprise. Both of these sites were supposed to be long abandoned and both very much not so. Irregardless, eventually my goal is to get back to Stoneflow. Where are you all headed? How did you end up in the bottom of a place that is supposed to not exist?
Oh boy. Long story. I guess we have time.
I'm just kind of like,
Yeah, Akka doesn't really know either, so he's like, oh.
I'm like, yeah. How did we end up here?
I'm gonna wake up for a second and I hear that. I'm just like, here, Frank will tell you. And I put him on my lap.
Upside down is Frank the skull in Morwen's lap. The jaw just
And
open.
puke into Frank's no, just kidding. I totally don't. Of course
That's
not.
so rude.
Not
He'll
my
remember
best
that.
friend.
He'll remember that.
Oh, I would never.
You know, it's kind of hard to keep track of how we've arrived here at this point, given that we've just been trying to piece together the bigger picture of what's been going on. Honestly, oddly enough, it all started kind of where it sounds like we're heading right now, for us at least. I sort of look over at Shay and Morwen, and then that one got dragged into it by proxy. Prophecy, I suppose, would be what started it all.
Prophecy.
Right.
Kind of straightens up. Prophecies are a suggestion, nothing more.
Sure, but when two overlap and correspond, it's a little more curious, I suppose.
You can see he kind of considers this for a moment. Out of curiosity, what was this prophecy?
Oh, it had numbers of steps and it all corresponded to some sort of star. I'm gonna wait to see his reaction. Very like.
Yeah, and he does react to that.
Yeah.
But, because it is midnight,
Ah, yeah.
and this is a perfect place to end. This is where we're going to end for the evening.
Alright, fair enough.
But thank you guys for hanging out with us and sticking through the technical difficulties of Windows Update. This is our D&D campaign. We've been playing it for like 2+ years, you know. So thank you very much for joining along. I'll play our theme song on our way out here.
Mm-hmm.
Composed for us by 1000 Take Wonder on Reddit.
Oh.
I know. I wish jungle music was still a thing. Sirenscape, if you ever watch this, please put jungle music on. It was just the
I'll
best.
try to
jazz.
recreate it from memory someday soon.
But so I believe we're back next week. Yeah. Are we doing in person again?
I'd assume at this
Okay,
point.
so we are back in person officially. We will be back next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hopefully on time and hopefully without technical difficulties. I will run an update ahead of time for session 86 of Adventures in Alberon.
What the fuck are we doing for 100?
Yeah, I know. Oh man, I have a plan for 100. Not to worry. But until then, stay safe out there. It is still kind of crazy. Have a great night. We'll see you next week. Ooh.
Good times.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.